KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sactown Sports.
It's time. It is that time. Time for Stiles and Watkins.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140. Find us on YouTube at Sactown Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. On a Friday Eve. Dave says don't say that, but we're saying it anyway. Thursday, Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Nate Littlefield behind the glass for us today as we cover everything from the Kings to the Niners to the Giants to the A's and, of course, the NBA playoffs. We're also going to kind of re-break down the Negro Leagues and being integrated into the Major League Baseball record books. That's coming up in about 15 minutes. And we will get into, in about 30 minutes, when you're watching the playoffs, what should the Kings be working on? What should De'Aaron Fox be adding to his bag? What should Domantas Sabonis be adding to his bag? What should Kevin Huerter? What should Harrison Barnes? What should Keegan Murray? What should they be adding to their bags? And we have another trade with another superstar, Chris Watkins. Very excited for this trade with who Bleacher Report has going to the Kings. Chris Watkins, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. Yeah, this day without, or I guess yesterday without, the playoff game was a little bit interesting for sure from a sports perspective. But just kind of ready to get this, as you stated, Friday Eve going and get going into the weekend. These short weeks are always nice, and getting excited for the weekend, man. It is going to start getting hot here in Sacramento, man. I saw it's going to be 102 next week.
102?
Yeah, that's what I saw yesterday on my weather app. So
you know what? I had a buddy that I played with, and he had a lot of sayings, right? And he would say, when the sun get hot, Bobby get hot.
Oh, man. And I just checked again. Oh, boy. I'm seeing 106 next Tuesday, 106 next Wednesday.
These are Mason Miller numbers.
Ridiculous.
That's what we're doing right now. Mason Miller numbers. I forgot to tell you because of the short week.
Yep.
And it kind of crept up on me. And now I'm remembering that we still need to go get wifey's new fishing license because the other one got wasted.
Yeah.
The redo of the fishing is Saturday.
I never told you. We were supposed to talk about it on Tuesday. I went fishing last week over the Memorial Day weekend. Yes. Remember in the notes on Tuesday, I had Chris tries to be like Alan.
Yes.
So over the weekend, I had a friend who had a friend who moved out of town. And so my girlfriend was like, oh, he moved out of town. Like, we should go hang out with him, everything. And I was like, okay, cool. What are some things we could do? First thing I said was, we should go to the fair. We should go to the county fair. I just saw Alan was at the county fair. It's something to do, whatever. And our friend hits us back and says, actually, I was going to go fishing. And we were like, okay, we'll go do that. And
on a boat or on the shore?
Just on the shore.
Did you catch anything?
No, I didn't catch a single thing.
But how was it? Was it fun?
It was great. Yeah. We just chilled, right by the, over in West Sac, just right by the water. Yeah, it was great. I didn't catch a single thing. I think it was on Memorial Day. So it was pretty hot that day. And I guess fish tend to flock towards shade is what I learned. And, didn't catch a single thing. My girlfriend caught 2 things. So shout out.
Fish?
Yes, 2 fish. They were small, but made some nice fish tacos. And
what?
It was wonderful. Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man,
You're just telling me this now?
It was on the rundown on Tuesday.
Did you post on the gram? You didn't post on the gram?
Not a single thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe I can't believe this.
We were supposed to talk about this. It completely slipped, and then you just brought up the fishing again. And I was like, wow, I should probably let you know.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm shook now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can give you some tips on I will say, and I have no problem admitting this. Worms was a big barrier of entry for me.
What, it was just too slimy?
I was never like a dig around in the dirt, play with the worms kind of kid. And that was a big barrier of entry for me. That kind of took me, actually never really officially kind of got it down. Always kind of had to have somebody hook it for me.
Nate, are you hearing this?
Yes.
Did you know about
Chris.
this?
Yes.
Wow. I mean, no, I'm happy for Chris.
It's great.
I'm upset
I didn't mess up
just
a lot of fishing poles.
I'm tripping because I'm just finding out now. I love that you went.
He's keeping secrets.
You tried to do 2 Allen things.
I did. No, that's why I said. I was like, I was trying to be Allen over the weekend.
If you had gone back to the fair, I would have been probably more mad because I said I would have gone back.
Really?
To go with you.
Yeah. See,
to go with you.
I mean, yeah, we'll go to the state.
The state fair will be a time. Well, that is great stuff, Chris. I did not.
I hope you have a good week, good fishing trip this weekend.
I will.
Catch more than I did.
Well, all I need is one. But you were the one. But this is what you get. Yeah. Because you were the one that said that. I know. I wasn't going to catch anything, and my wifey was going to catch both. Yeah. And look at you now.
And let me tell you, it wasn't very humbling, but it was, I'm just glad we caught anything.
That's crazy.
It was a good time. I've never really been fishing like that. Yeah. And, I mean, it wasn't like we were doing we weren't on the boat or anything like that, but it was chill. I mean, it kind of reminds, I get it why, like it's, you probably either golf or in retirement, it's just like it's chill. It's the clock,
Yeah, it's all about eating the clock once
beautiful
you get
sights
to these later years. Well, that's great stuff, Chris. I'm still processing this whole thing, and the Giants are also processing what happened with Kyle Harrison and Bryce Harper yesterday as the bench is clear. Now that was happening during our show, and as soon as the show ended, I saw that the whole reason the thing happened was because Kyle Harrison went up and in twice. Yeah. So he went up and in twice, and that is why Bryce felt some type of way, and nothing really happened. We have some audio from Kyle Harrison who says, I'd do it again. I would literally do it again. So we have that sound for you. The A's, by the way, I'm sitting there thinking that the A's just took the lead with, I believe it was my guy, Zach Geloff, almost goes big fly against the Rays in the top of the 9th, and Siri, the center fielder, brings it on back home, and the Tampa Bay Rays go on to win it. At first, I thought it was gone off the bat. Then it felt like it was too high, and then I'm not even sure that Zach Geloff thought he got it, and then it just started taking off because who was it? Was it Fairchild who was throwing? He throws gas, so then it just starts carrying. I'm thinking, man, the A's are really going to do this, and Siri goes up and kind of jumps almost on a Rosarena to make the grab, so the A's aren't able to get that one done. So we have kind of a baseball half hour, if you will, that's coming around 1:15. Emil Fregoso joins us at 12:45 to talk all things Juwan Jennings. Jalen Waddle gets paid, and every day, very similar to Mike Brown.
Too similar to Mike Brown.
That price tag is going up. We have more on Mike Brown. I thought Dave made a good point talking to Sam Amick as far as Frank Vogel and how Frank Vogel, he got fired 2 years after winning a championship. Yep. So what actually should be the leash on these guys, and how long should it last? You see Michael Malone, he lasted, 6 years before making the playoffs. Frank Vogel, and that's why everybody wants to talk about that bubble championship being the same. If that bubble championship was the same, Frank Vogel doesn't get fired 2 years later. You win a championship, that's normally 3 years.
I would hope 3.
That's at least 3 years. So that's got to be something that we discuss. So we will break all of that down. And Ty Lue, how much should a ring last? Sam Amick, talking to Carmichael Dave, says, well, Ty Lue's getting $14 million. He did win a championship. That was 2016 with a different team.
Yeah.
So for certain people, it's almost like you get the benefit of the doubt with certain rings, but it depends on the ring.
Right.
Ty Lue's ring is worth more than Frank Vogel's ring, but both of those rings are worth more than somebody that doesn't have a ring, even if you've done better than those coaches in the recent seasons. It makes absolutely no sense, Chris. So we will break all that down. And last but not least, the NBA playoffs are back rolling. Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves look to do the unthinkable. I saw something, Chris, and Nate, I don't know if you saw this, that the Timberwolves, I think it was Action Network, had the Timberwolves at a plus 416 to win the series. And somebody said, that is ridiculously low to do something that's never been done in NBA history. Right. It was either 416 or 460 or something.
It's not like there's a major injury or anything either to Dallas.
No.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
And
I'm not touching that.
In case you don't know, bet $100 to win $416. Those odds should be like plus 1,500 at least.
Exactly. Nobody's ever done it.
At least. I was looking at Vegas Insider the other day, which like mashes all the big wigs together, big gambling places, and the Timberwolves to win the NBA Finals was like plus 20K or something. So that doesn't make any sense.
No.
I don't understand.
I know they'd have to beat the Celtics too, but still, it's like if you're the last three teams, you should have better odds than that. It doesn't make whatever.
Yeah, and I guess to me, when you look at the Timberwolves, they probably just chopped it in half depending on when they were up. If you were going to play some cheese down, it would have, I guess, why not do it at 3-0, right? I guess, but because now that's what I saw somebody say, well, we've seen, it's funny how you can compartmentalize things to say, well, they left game 4 healthy, and we've seen teams come back from 3-1. Right. So they're saying 3-1 is more possible than 3-0. Right. So that's how the gambling books are doing it, even though, so they don't care that it's not 3-0 anymore.
It's 3-1, right?
So they are just separating it into now it's 3-1, which I guess makes sense.
I get it, but still is part of something that has not ever been, whatever. I get that Vegas can't always, give you the exact odds, and that's kind of how they win no matter what, but yeah, I mean, that doesn't make sense. If something has never happened, if there's like 155 instances of 0-3 series and it's never happened, you should get something that reflects those kind of percentages, those kind of odds. And, I get it, but, that's not cool. I'm never touching anybody coming back from 3-0. I always think that's
but it's 3-1 now.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. It's just
but would you touch it now?
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean,
probably not.
Not with those odds.
I want to correct what I said. I said like 2,500. They're closer to plus 1,500 now. This was before they won a game, but for the Timberwolves, to win the finals. But I think the plus 416. I don't know if you were getting at this, Alan, but all the money is going towards the like people throwing.
I see what you're saying.
Cash. Yes. The problem is that usually changes the line when it's a dramatic amount of money. Like that's how the line moves.
Like Jonte Porter.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't, I mean, I guess people are silly enough to be like, all right, $1,000 if they have that kind of cash, just be like T-Wolves, do it for me.
Right.
So I feel like it would be smarter to just do the individual games though. At that point, if you think that the Timberwolves are going to, especially if you think they're going to win the championship, I feel like it would just probably be more lucrative to pick every single individual game and pick the Timberwolves. Yeah.
Well, the Timberwolves are favored tonight, I'm pretty sure. So those odds aren't
interesting.
Great.
Yeah, the individual games, there's just so much more room for error, Like I feel like the Celtics are going to win the finals this year. Do I feel like they're going to win game 5? Like I don't know.
I'm saying in total pot.
Yeah, I'm not touching. Right, I'm not touching spreads. Yeah. If anything, I'm never. Money line possibly. Never, But yeah, I saw that. And somebody said that those are ridiculous for somebody coming back 3-0, but Vegas is saying, well, they're not 3-0 anymore. 3-0, the question is, what were those odds before
the game?
Those were probably when, that's why I said, if you wanted to get in, you might as well get in at 3-0.
Right.
Coming up next, we are going to discuss what the Kings should be working on. That's at that is at 10:30, but coming up in about 2 minutes, we will discuss the different thought processes on integrating the Negro Leagues into Major League Baseball, and some people aren't actually thrilled about it. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles the man. 10-5. Touchdown. CMC.
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
You see the TV commercials, everybody wants this car, the all-electric Kia EV9. Well, my friends at Elk Grove Kia have it on the lot today, and you could be driving it for only $499 a month. That's right, the 2024 North American Utility Vehicle of the Year. The all-electric Kia EV9 can be yours right now at Elk Grove Kia for only $499 a month. The summer sales event is going on right now at Elk Grove Kia and the Elk Grove Auto Mall. Everything, I would love to be driving a brand new car this summer, or maybe even just a car that's new to me. Well, guess what? Your credit won't be an issue out here at Elk Grove Kia. Everyone's approved. And Elk Grove Kia is committed to providing excellent customer service and getting you behind the wheel of a vehicle you're going to love. They go above and beyond the average dealerships. You're not going to find this kind of experience in Roseville or Vacaville or Sacramento or Davis. Only at Elk Grove Kia. That's why they have so many 5-star reviews. Come visit the showroom, see for yourself. Elk Grove Kia is in the Elk Grove Auto Mall. Or check out what they got on the lot right now anytime online at elkgrovekia.com. One at this price, $3,500 down plus taxes.
Their leaderboards, which means that Josh Gibson now owns a lot of records in baseball, right? Whether it's Major League Baseball, whether it's the Negro Leagues. And Chris and I spoke about it yesterday, and the initial thought was, this is great.
Yeah.
Recognizing these guys for what they did, getting them into Cooperstown. This is great.
It's a forgotten history.
Forgotten history. As I got home,
or unrecognized history.
Yes. As I got home and started reading other people's thought processes on how they feel about it and whether or not it's a good thing or bad thing, I thought it was pretty interesting. And one thing I saw, Chris, that I wanted to kind of highlight was from this guy, Randy Wilkins. He's a filmmaker. He was the director of The Captain for ESPN. He's also a director on Apple TV. And he said this yesterday. I have to be honest, I'm not a big fan of MLB incorporating Negro League stats into their stat leaderboards. These great players were excluded because of racism. The move empowers the league as the, in all caps, standard, despite the racist history. Those players don't need to be on the list. Josh Gibson doesn't have MLB stats because MLB didn't want him. That's it. He doesn't need to be validated, nor does modern day MLB need to right their wrongs of the past. It should just be acknowledged. I agree with some initiatives, but doing this, I'm not in on this one. And I'm not saying the primary intent of this process is to consciously establish MLB as the standard. I'm saying this is one of the unintended results, and it diminishes how vital the Negro Leagues were for black and brown players who could not play in MLB.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time hearing the full quote of all that. And I actually, when you had initially kind of told me what the counter take was, because I was a little confused, you said, there is another side to this. And I said, who's really against this? And you kind of gave a brief, but I think good description of what it was. And it just kind of confused me to, say, okay, well, you both want recognition, but then are upset when you get the recognition. But hearing the full quote, I do actually agree with a majority of what he said. I just think it's kind of one of those things. And I do what I say here, I don't mean to diminish anything that he said there, but I just think sometimes you do have to recognize what the bigger point is, or not, I shouldn't say bigger point, but what this is doing is bigger than I think everything that's laid out there, because it's giving people access to, or easier access to, that history. It's going to make it so, I'm sorry, but like a majority of kids who are first getting into baseball aren't going to specifically look up, okay, MLB stats, Negro League stats. This now makes it so you can't avoid it. You will see now, okay, these players did these things. And, it's more just easy access to this kind of information, where it's either they weren't getting it at all before. And I just think that this is, I definitely understand everything that he's saying there, but I just think that this is for the greater good because of the amount of eyeballs and recognition that it'll give, maybe not to people who are already alive and know baseball and baseball's history now, but at least moving forward in the future, when people look these things up, it'll be right there in front of them and they can do the due diligence themselves to look further into it. But at the very least, these are names that will be, out there in that are synonymous with baseball, like, Josh Gibson hopefully becomes a household name in the future, like Ty Cobb is, and I think that's kind of the point of all of it, is to get these guys recognition where there just wasn't any before. But I still do think that all those points that were made are very valid.
Yeah, I get the points for sure. And I'm looking here. There's a Negro Leagues museum that is in Kansas City, Missouri. I don't know. I've never been to Cooperstown. I don't know if there was any mention of the Negro Leagues previously. Right. I assumed that there was something. Again, the stats weren't included, but I assumed that there was something, and now there's just going to be a lot more. That's how I feel like this is going to go. As I hear different takes on things, and I saw somebody say, well, if my kid is asking, where did, about Josh Gibson or whatever it is, and then they're in Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, they won't know the past. And I'm just going, I know we bag on Major League Baseball. I'm just going to trust that in Cooperstown, they have to say, Chris, and I'm not trying to be funny here, this is a serious thing. Yeah. Chris, one of the teams was called the Atlanta Black Crackers. Right. Okay. If my kid, hey, who did Josh, I don't know, whatever team, if you say the Atlanta Black Crackers, I think it's going to lead to a conversation. Right. Exactly, okay. Yeah. And I'm looking at the all these names, the Birmingham Black Barons. So I just don't know if it's possible for it to be erased. Right. Now, if your argument is it's more massaging the actual situation, then I can hear you on that. Yeah. But the New York Black Yankees.
What is that? Yeah.
The New York Black Yankees. So it's very obvious what was going on here, right?
100%.
And if you want to go back and forth about which league was better than the other, again, I hear you, but at the same time, we want them to get more notoriety. Yeah. Right. And even if Major League Baseball wasn't the standard then, it is the standard now. So as long as they do this the right way and they still give there's no way they can't because there's no Major League Baseball team called the New York Black Yankees.
Yeah, you can't massage that.
So there's no way they can do this and ignore the past. If they want to ignore how bad it was, I mean, I don't even know how you ignore that because what do you mean how bad it was? They had to make their own leagues. It's very obvious how bad they were. So I understand the take of we don't need your validation.
Absolutely.
Right. But at the same time, you're not necessarily asking for their validation or getting the it can still live separate. Yeah. There's still going to be a museum in Missouri. Yep. But I'll tell you this, there might be more people that visit that museum in Missouri because now you know more about them due to them being in Cooperstown. 100%. So that's what I would say about it. I felt like we had a lot to talk about yesterday, and I really didn't initially realize how deep this thing could go or how deep this thing was going. Once I got home and saw the different takes, I thought it was super interesting and wanted to run it back.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think it's literally I don't even think it has to be difficult. Like to me, it's as simple as, how many people even knew who Josh Gibson was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, or how many, I guess the better way of framing it is how many people learned more about Josh Gibson in the past week. How many people even knew he hit 370? I sure didn't.
Right.
Like, I think that even that is a sign of why this is important, is getting that name out there, getting more information out there, and just, again, ease of access, I think, is going to be huge for the future of this. I don't think this is a current play. This is a play for baseball 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, so that it just kind of becomes a part of, I understand the washing out of the history of it, but I just think that this is, again, for the greater win.
For anybody that is upset about it, I would just need to know, hey, are you doing everything that you can? Are you telling people about the Negro Leagues and Museum? Are you making sure people know this and people know that? I'm not saying that people are trying to be upset for no reason. I just think that in this situation, you cannot erase. I don't think Major League Baseball is trying to erase the stench and the issues and the stains of the past. I think they're just trying to do right by it. And, if they didn't do this, then what would we be complaining about? They just do a random Negro Leagues game once a year, which I really want to go to, by the way. I think the Giants are playing in it actually this season. They just do a random Negro Leagues game every year, or once a year they do the Jackie thing, and then they have the Negro Leagues. They use a Negro Leagues jersey every once in a while. So I'm not saying people are just trying to be upset, but I will say, and I understand where you're coming from. At the end of the day, we want more eyeballs on this. And I just think it was honestly so bad that there's no way to erase it. Yes, and as long look, one day I hope to go to Cooperstown, but as long as the Major League Baseball does this right, and I just don't know how they could do it the wrong way. I just don't know how they could have this stuff up and say, what are they going to lie and say, oh, no, they wanted to play on their own. That's not going to happen. No. So, that's what I had to say about it. And great stuff by you, Chris. If you have any thoughts, 916-339-1140. Sad chat, text line as well. All guests and callers join us in the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Coming up next, as you watch the playoffs, what should your Sacramento Kings be working on? They need to get in their bag and do what? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Kevin Herter plays here.
It's Herter. He's been hot. He fires. He's still hot. Kevin Herter from downtown has a 15-point first quarter.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Some people just know safe drivers save more with Allstate. Just like they know that's the mating call of a blue-footed booby and not a green-footed booby. Yeah. Some people know that. And they know if you're a safe driver, you can save up to 40% with Allstate. Ain't that something?
Based on the national average premium savings for Allstate customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and based on how you buy. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Free! Who doesn't love free? With Milo's Rewards, you get the member-only treatment that's actually worth it. Enjoy free member gifts you'll love. And once you reach Silver Key status, you can get free standard shipping. Because Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Learn more about our new loyalty program at Lowe's.com/Milo's Rewards today. Program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowe's.com/terms for details. Member gifts may be subject to additional terms and restrictions. See Lowe's.com/shipping terms for details. Subject to change.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth. And if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The countdown to Miss Twin Peaks 2024 is on. Head over to MissTwinPeaks2024.com to learn about the contest and cast your 5 votes for your favorite Twin Peaks girl.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate, the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort.
Do you have sore feet, an aching back, or plantar fasciitis? Then get to the Good Feet store nearest you for your free arch support fitting. Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store.
Sacramento sports fans, get ready to amp up your summer with the Sactown Sports live events calendar. We've got a lineup that's awesome. First up, mark your calendar for June 8th when NF takes the stage at the Golden One Center. Visit livenation.com for tickets and get ready for a killer high-energy show. Don't miss music legends Daryl Hall and Elvis Costello with the Imposters on June 12th, and NSYNC and Backstreet artists Joey Fatone and AJ McLean on June 22nd. Two great shows coming in June to Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Then looking ahead to August 4th, get ready for the Outlaw Music Festival at the Toyota Amphitheater, featuring legends like Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, and John Mellencamp. Presented by Live Nation. The Sactown Sports live events calendar, your ultimate playbook for the best shows and events in town. Stay tuned to Sactown Sports for exclusive updates and your chance to win tickets.
Live and local. Live and local. This is Sactown Sports.
What should the Kings be working on? This might take a while, Chris. But first, when it comes to working on things, Chris, when I do something, I go all in.
You sure do.
My move to Sacramento, it's Alan Stiles is in Sacramento.
Sure are.
Wait. Well, hold on. One second.
What's up?
When it breaks, we have it first.
This is not gonna.
Sactown Sports breaking news.
I will be making my debut. I didn't do this. Nate did. I will be making my debut as Rancho Cordova, helping out Rancho Cordova Little League today. After the show, I will give them my philosophies on hitting, on outfielding, and I'm excited.
Launch angle, right?
You know, we do launch angle, but we do it in a healthy way. All right? It's all about calculated risk, and it's about keeping your bat in the zone.
Do they have a pitch clock, kids?
No.
There's no way.
Pitch clock's only in the MLB, right?
No, they have it in college too.
What about like international? Like
I don't know, Nate.
Okay, sorry.
And I don't know why Chris. So Chris doesn't like when the breaking news gets manipulated, and I agree. So I just want to tell the world that was not me. I didn't tell Nate to do that.
It was all me.
In a season where, Mike Brown's contract's up in the air, there's trade talks left and right. We don't know what the Kings are doing with their 13th pick.
Let them know, Chris.
It just makes me nervous.
Someone on Dennis Youngblood on the Sac Chat. Kings cooking?
Yeah. Guys, no.
No.
Just Alan. Do they still do that drill where I remember when I was in Little League, like you put the fold-out chair and you like want to swing over the fold-out chair?
I gotta work on these drills, man. It's gonna be a lot of T work.
Yeah,
the kids are gonna like it. It's a lot of T work.
There's some really good Ron Washington. That's more infield, but like some real good infield drills that I watched on YouTube.
It's all about finding the apex of the baseball when you're outfielding. Okay, finding the apex of the baseball, getting under the baseball. And it's just T work today. They're not going to like it. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But T work.
You got to put the work in.
Yeah.
They got to put the work in.
Yeah.
That's going to get you. Want to go to the Little League World Series?
Right. What do you want?
T work.
What do you want Baby Stiles to play? Grow up sports wise.
We'll do it later.
Do that later?
We'll do it later.
Oh, so
because we don't have enough time.
I really want to see Alan on the sideline of the Little League World Series. That would be incredible.
Oh, it would be
incredible, especially with no kid. Like he doesn't have a kid on the team.
And then I just have Nate there videoing me.
and your veins popping out.
Yeah.
Scream! Okay. The scream. Everybody.
The scream heard around.
Steal!
Yeah, steal it. All right. All right. Well, hopefully we are screaming in a good way when we see the new bags from some of the Kings players going into next season. Chris, you watch the playoffs and you see a lot of these guys and they have very well-rounded games.
Right.
And one thing we've talked about with the Kings is that they might not be as well-rounded as some of their competition in the West and also in the East. So I think the main one we can just get out of the way is free throws. Okay.
My goodness. Everybody.
Everybody.
There's not a single human who is free from not taking free throws all summer.
So we can get that out the way.
I even want Mike Brown taking free throws over summer.
Just for fun.
Just because.
Just to
everybody
drive
needs
them.
To get better. Yeah.
Just to drive them. 916-339-1140. What should the Kings be working on? You can go specific to the players. So I'll start here with De'Aaron Fox, Chris. As you look at some of the other point guards throughout the playoffs, and now that we're dwindled down to just a couple teams here, I know we just said free throws, but it has to, and I don't want to say to foul hunt, but it really keeps your team, when you look at some of the terrible runs that the Kings gave up and the blown leads that the Kings gave up, a lot of these guys that are still playing, they don't allow that to happen to their team because I'm going to get to the free throw line and I'm going to stop momentum.
Sure.
Now, does that mean to foul hunt? Maybe, but you got to do what you got to do. You can't just get into Chuck Master Flex and start chucking up threes and because they're making threes on that side. When a run is happening, De'Aaron Fox, and I'm looking at De'Aaron more than anybody else on this team right now. We're not going to do Malik Monk because we don't know about Malik Monk. But De'Aaron Fox, it's an 8-0 run. Okay. And doing it sooner. You know what I mean? It's an 8-0 run. De'Aaron asked for the ball. I got one thing on my mind. We are not leaving this possession without a bucket.
Yeah.
If I got to get fouled, if I got whatever I got to do, I will stop this run some way, somehow. So I guess I would just put that into the category of forcing. You need to force the issue more.
Sure.
And with a 1B being getting to the free throw line and making your free throws.
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of have a similar answer. It's more just getting to the lane more. Like just stop at the settling for the jumpers. I think is the thing where I just want to see. I want to see less of it. He took just under 8 threes a game last year. I just don't think that's necessary, man. I just don't. I know De'Aaron's shot is definitely developing, but to me, he doesn't need to take more than 4, maybe 5 a game by the end of the season. Like I just think his bread is buttered around the rim. You see a dude like Shea, that's the exact kind of shot diet I want for De'Aaron. I want mid ranges. I want getting to the line. I want getting to the freaking rim, please. Like, and I think a big part of that is you get to the line. If you drive more, especially the way De'Aaron drives with his aggression towards the rim, you're going to get contact. You're going to get foul. And I just think that's what I want to see more from De'Aaron is just that mid-range game. That mid-range game needs to come back for him. That's what made him so ridiculous in that season 2 years ago, I guess at this point, the first Beam Team season. His mid-range shot was his go-to. Every single one of his clutch shots, with the exception of, the Orlando game winner and the Chicago game winner, were all from the mid-range. And that's what I need to see him get back to. I understand that it's a 3-point league and everybody's trying to, extend their range, and everybody's probably told De'Aaron from the second he got drafted, hey man, you need to become a 3-point shooter. But I just think you kind of need to walk or crawl before you can walk, or maybe you can call this walking before he runs. And he's got to be more consistent with that mid-range, and then the threes can come after. I just think I think every single team, if you say, all right, De'Aaron Fox has just got the ball on the other end of the floor, what do you not want him, or what do you want him to do? I guess I think everybody's going to say, well, if he takes a 3, I think that's the best case for us. That kind of feels like a bailout.
Right.
And I think he can't, to your point, he cannot allow other teams to dictate that. Like, he's got to be the aggressor in these situations.
And to be fair, that's not even really a slight on De'Aaron. If you were to ask teams about Shea, they'd probably say the same
Probably
thing.
A similar thing, yeah.
They would probably say the same thing. Not because you're disrespecting them as a shooter, but just the other things that they can do, right? You would prefer them shoot a three because they're not putting pressure on you. And those numbers, they are what they are. Coming up next, continuing the conversation, we got Sabonis, we got Herter, we got Barnes, we got Keegan, we got Trey Lyles, we got Sasha. What should the Kings be working on during this offseason? From the 916 safe. Well done, 916. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out SactownSports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on SactownSports.com.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
You've seen the specials on Amazon, Netflix, Showtime, and more. Don't miss an evening with Steve Trevino.
Babe, can I go with Steve and have a drink at the casino? And then she started to speak wife. She looked at him right in the face and she goes, you can do whatever you want. And his dumb goes, told you. I go, oh, no, it's a trap. It's a trap.
Steve Trevino, Saturday, June 1st, the venue at Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Tickets on sale now at ThunderValleyResort.com. Don't miss an evening with Steve Trevino.
Vapes and cigarettes are responsible for the excessive amount of secondhand smoke in California.
From our sidewalks to our parks, restaurants, offices, and work sites, over half of Californians are at risk of being exposed to thousands of toxic chemicals.
Go to secondhanddangers.org for an action plan to protect yourself and your family from toxic harm that could last a lifetime.
Because even outdoors, there's no such thing as safe secondhand smoke.
Sponsored by Breathe California, Sacramento region.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-934-9217. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-934-9217 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
1140.
Coming up, a star heads to Sacramento. According to Bleacher Report, we will tell you who that is as we break down when you're watching the current playoff teams, what should your Sacramento Kings players be working on? From the 916, boxing out and rebounding being in correct position to rebound. That is from Eli McFly. Great name, by the way.
Everybody except for Sabonis needs to listen to that because obviously Sabonis is carrying his weight, but
Keegan kind of picked it up.
He's trying, but to me, it's they get a lot of uncontested jumping up for the ball rebounds and, to the boxing out point. I just think there's too many times where I think everybody who's not named Sabonis is assuming Sabonis is going to get the rebound, and that can't be the case. The Kings have to have some form of other big presence. Even a guy like Aaron Gordon has to act like a big sometimes, and I think the Kings are kind of missing. They have those two forwards with Keegan and HB, and I feel like neither one of them really plays some of the four role. I feel like both of them really play a lot of three tendencies, if that makes sense. Not a lot of big man in their game.
Yeah, and you just can't only depend on one person. As we say, rebounding is the one thing that Sabonis doesn't need to work on when it comes to what he does need to work on. All right, Chris, should we just prepare for the call now or the text or the Sac chat from
some sort of shot, right?
Yeah, so if we're getting into Domantas Sabonis, and you look at some of these other bigs, what does Domas need to improve on heading into next season?
I think he needs to improve his off the dribble game for sure. I think especially with how often he gets the ball at the top of the key, his move, if the handoffs aren't there, is I'm going to just barrel at the rim and his touch. He doesn't really have, he doesn't really use a Euro step at all. I guess it would just kind of be shots around the rim. And I know it's so weird. And I feel like I do this all the time. He's one of the best field goal percentage guys in the league, but it just feels like his touch isn't there on these easy bunnies and, around the rim. He's got these hook shots that aren't pretty. It's just not very aesthetically pleasing. And maybe that's
why people don't like him.
I totally agree.
I think it's just not a pretty game.
Too clunky. Yeah. And I don't know if it's really fair to ask him to, can you sauce up your game a little bit?
Can you just be a little smoother?
Yeah, I don't really know how to properly word it, but yeah, I would say that. Can we get some fluidity to your game? Can we get some, a go-to move? His post moves are, I don't want to say terrible because he has good footwork, but again, that just regular hook shot. He has no turnaround game at all either. I think there's just his scoring ability. Maybe that's just a blanket that I would say just if you can be a better scorer, I think that opens up a lot more because I think a lot of Sabonis's points are just kind of gritty hustle, strength. It's not a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of skill because again, his footwork is incredible, but it's just not a lot of craftiness, I guess.
Well,
and I don't even think that's the right word.
But I do in a way agree because like we saw throughout the season, he's got two options here. He's going to overpower you, right? And just shoulder, or he's going to pump fake you to death. And if neither of those things work, you got no action.
Yeah.
100%. You need a counter to those two things. Oh, we got Chet Holmgren today, shoulder. Right. Oh, okay, we got we're going against a leaper, pump fake, get him up in the air. If there's somebody who doesn't do either, a la Valanciunas, Steven Adams, he's bigger.
Jokic a little, but
Zubac a little bit too.
Yeah.
If it's a guy that isn't in either of those categories, you're getting 13 points from Sabonis.
Yeah.
13.
Yep.
And that can't fly.
No. And I think it can be the mid-range game. It can be everything. I just think in general, I think it would go a really long way if the Kings could if Sabonis can go from a 18 to 19 point per game scorer to okay, maybe he can get you 22 to 24 a night. I think that's a massive, massive leap. But if he can make that leap, I think that's the thing that could potentially leapfrog him into a different conversation where it's not so much I don't really like, he gets the numbers, but it just doesn't look good. I think that if he adds more scoring, to me, that legitimizes him probably in more people's eyes, even if they don't watch his game. I just think the numbers would help him a lot, and I think it would help the Kings tremendously.
All right, coming up next, we have Kevin Huerter.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because, I mean, make more shots would be great, ideally, but, he's already talented enough at that. It's just sometimes they don't go in. Defense, obviously, would help, but that's, again, not really something you can practice over summer, I guess. Maybe you can do slide drills and things like that, but I think Huerter even said in his post game or in his exit interview, just kind of everything, like just kind of continuing to round out his game. I think he said last offseason he really focused on movement shooting, which is of course key with this Kings offense. But I think he said he wasn't really a big fan of that, and I kind of agree that Kevin can just use a little bit more of everything. I think he's a decent finisher. He's got a decent floater. His mid-range game is good. He's decent off the dribble, not really something he goes to all the time. He's just really good at all aspects of shooting and scoring. But, if Kevin Huerter can kind of find his spot, I think he really does like those, I don't know if you would consider these low. I think they consider it for Caitlin Clark a logo 3, on the golden 1 center
right
logo. If he can hit that and make that kind of his consistent spot, or somewhere on the floor, a consistent spot for him, I think that's kind of the thing he needs to get, is something that he can hunt time after time.
Yeah, Kevin Huerter is a tough one.
It is, yeah.
We all know how I feel about Kevin Huerter. I don't have any problems with his game. I just kind of think he is who he is. So when you lead into, and we're going to have the same conversation with Harrison Barnes, to be completely honest. Right. But yeah, when you ask what can he add, is it adding something or just be better?
Yeah,
just be a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe you can pull out a little bit further from the basket and make the defense stretch out a little bit more. But
maybe
I'm not
more off the dribble.
Yeah, off the dribble would be great. I think that's a good call. I mean, what it felt like with Kevin Huerter is that the motion offense is so good that these guys, it feels like they're honestly not used to shooting contested threes or threes off the dribble, because it's the same conversation with Keegan. I mean, the only person that does really are the two people, Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox, because they're the ball handlers. Nobody, who else can really shoot off the dribble? Harrison at once in a blue moon.
Yeah, I mean, nobody does it consistently at all besides Malik and De'Aaron off the dribble.
And I guess that's what's considered a bucket getter versus a shot maker.
Right, exactly.
And the Kings, they don't really, we've already talked about it. They have 2 bucket getters and the rest of the guys are shot makers. And I'm not counting Sabonis in either of those categories because he's just the muscle down low.
I think if Kevin could be a better ball handler in general, I think that would go a long way. I just kind of think of, maybe this is an unfair comparison and it's maybe too obvious, but I could see if he adds ball handling, I think like Austin Reeves could potentially, I just see what Austin Reeves does for the Lakers in crunch time. And it's just, again, we talk about it even with Malik, just the ability to have anybody else who can have the ball in their hands and you trust, okay, something's either he's going to create his own shot, he's going to get to the rim, or he'll draw enough attention to where it'll get somebody else open. If Kevin could add that to his game, that's kind of where I think Kevin there's no longer to me questions of, is Kevin Huerter a starter? Because if he can then be a backup ball handler as well, not necessarily as in primary and then Kevin Huerter, but more just this is somebody else we're comfortable having the ball in his hands. I think that adds a lot of value to Kevin, and it also makes him a little bit more, malleable with lineups. Like you can kind of play him at a point guard spot for a couple minutes. They played Keon Ellis at point. I could see Kevin Huerter getting to a point where you're not necessarily creating offense. You're more just bringing the ball down the floor and setting guys up. So I think that would probably be the thing that would take Kevin Huerter's game the furthest, but I do mostly agree with you that it's just be a better Kevin Huerter, really.
From Kings fan on the Sack Chat, Kevin Huerter had shoulder problems all year.
Man.
Judge him now and watch him go DiVincenzo on us. And he's 6'7". So that would mean he would get traded or he would get moved. I mean, is there any word? I mean, it's possible.
I don't know if he'll go DiVincenzo in terms of like 30 in an Eastern Conference Finals game, but I definitely think he could be like, I would be afraid if you let go of Kevin Huerter. I think he's going to be a contributor somewhere. Like I
just returns to form from
100%,
23.
It's just about being who Kevin Huerter is. Really, he had the worst year of his career last year. You know, to the Texans, to Kings fan point, like I just think he's more than likely going to be at least a decent version of Kevin Huerter, if not a significantly improved version of Kevin Huerter.
In my opinion, it just turns into a conversation of collateral damage, and you might just have to move off of him to get the star.
For sure.
And if you keep him and don't get the star, I don't see there being a Kevin, even if he returns to 2023, you're not winning a championship. You lost in the first round.
Sure.
So I just think
really bad in the playoffs.
I just think you have to take a swing. And yes, the level of burning that he does to you, I don't see it on the same level.
It's fine too. If you get a star, I don't care.
Exactly.
I don't care.
Because you should be doing things on your own as well. Let's finish this up with Keegan Murray when we return. And after that, we'll tell you which star Bleacher Report has headed to the Kings. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sactown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for three, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
With Progressive, you get more than savings. You get access to us through our mobile app, online chat, or by phone.
Oh, I see what you're doing here, Jamie. Giving me all these ways to stay in touch so I have no excuse not to. Well, you're in luck, because this guy's in the market for a new BFF.
Actually, all our customers can contact us this way.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just kidding.
But I am always up for Taco Pizza! Jigsaw!
Get help from Progressive through the website, app, chat, or phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how an injury can turn anyone's life upside down. Whether it's a slip and fall, a car accident, or any other kind of injury. For almost 50 years, the Arnold Law Firm has been here to help you through the entire process to protect you and your family. If you are ever injured or in an accident, call the Arnold Law Firm. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777. That's 916-777-7777.
Seems like all this artificial intelligence stuff stirs up the age-old debate of man versus machine. Hi, it's Dan from the Good Feet store, and let me ask you, would you let a robot cut your hair? Would you rely on an app to teach a kid to ride a two-wheeler? Let's face it, some things require the human touch. People come to us seeking a solution to foot, leg, and back pain after trying all kinds of things recommended by in-store machines or website blurbs. An impersonal, generic approach to solving a problem that's unique to you. No wonder they usually don't work. At the Good Feet store, you'll meet with an arch support specialist who will take the time to learn about your needs, your feet, your lifestyle, and then fit you from over 300 models and sizes of arch supports, designed for pain relief, better balance, and more comfort.
Do you have sore feet, an aching back, or plantar fasciitis? Then get to the Good Feet store nearest you for your free arch support fitting. Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store.
Maida Chevy saves you $12,000 off MSRP on every new half-ton Silverado LT 5.3 liter in stock after rebates. Always 5 to choose from.
Exclusive, all in-stock pricing at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See dealer for details and 6324.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber, down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside to Sabonis, a two-hand rip. A brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports. Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
About to get in to who Bleacher Report has going to the Kings. Like I said, Chris is going to be very happy about this one. But before that, let's finish up our starting five for the Kings and what they need to work on based on what you've seen in the playoffs. And I mean, Chris, we can do Harrison Barnes. Obviously, Keegan Murray is going to have more meat on the bone. As far as Harrison Barnes, when you're, what is he, 31? This is the same conversation 30. We had at the beginning of the season, right? How much can you improve?
Oh, just turned 31. Happy birthday, Harrison Barnes.
Wait, Kyle didn't say Harrison Barnes?
Kind of crazy.
Kyle, you had one job for celebrity birthdays. Yeah.
What were the
and you didn't say the mayor?
Do you think he has a birthday suit? Okay. That's a good pun. That
wasn't bad.
Because he wears a suit and tie all the time.
That's a 4.
Yep.
That's a 4.
That's not out of 5. Out of 5.
It's a 4.
Out of 5.
Happy birthday, Harrison Barnes.
Happy birthday.
He's 32.
He's 32 today.
He is 32.
Old soul.
Ames, Iowa's finest.
And the question is, right, as we look at what these guys should be working on, you're 32. You are who you are. Is he the same case as Kevin Huerter? Just be a better version of you. What is he going to add?
Sharpen that Army knife, right? That's Swiss
Army
knife, I guess.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think, of course, like just being more aggressive would be great. I would almost say get to the free throw line with him. Like if that's kind of the best or only thing that he's giving you on a given night, like I'll take it. Maybe again, it's just a mentality thing with him. I truly do believe it. Like I don't know how many things on the basketball floor I will just straight up say, no, Harrison Barnes cannot do that. I cannot see Harrison Barnes having the facilities for that, except for maybe, fight through a screen. But he needs to be I think he almost needs to go through like a NBA midlife crisis where he figures out, what are you going to be on this back stretch of your career?
Yes.
What is going to be, are you going to be a veteran? Are you going to turn into Garrett Temple and Udonis Haslem where you're just on the bench to be a great guy and your role just kind of slowly
be an Otto Porter
diminishes
Jr. type deal?
I mean, Otto Porter Jr. is like 6 years younger. I don't know. He's like 2 years younger than him probably. They might even be the same age. Who knows? How do you find impact in the later stage of your career? I think is going to be the big thing for HB. Like, I don't know. Clearly last year he took a step back. I don't know if that's just the direction he's going, if it's the direction that the Kings decided to take him in. I just think he needs to be more impactful. However it is, like he's too skilled, too talented, too good at just about everything to continue to give some nights absolutely nothing.
It's crazy because we talked a lot about the touches and how his touches went down from 2023 to 2024.
Right.
And you look at how touches went up for Keegan Murray, right? And then you have what you already have with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. We're going to leave Malik out of this for now. To be completely honest with you, Chris, if you put up the stat line that Harrison Barnes put up, and we know that he is making pretty much low-level starter type money, I do wonder, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, the Andre Iguodala thing was very out in the open when he got moved to the bench or moved as a starter. Yeah. So that was very open when he was with the Warriors.
Right.
But some of these other guys, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head When do you remember enter starter name, a season goes by, and they're just no longer a starter? Like, when is that going to happen to Harrison Barnes?
I mean, you could argue it already did, right? Like, I mean,
but he's still starting.
Yeah, he's still starting, right? No,
but in theory, let's say
Trey
Lyles had an incredible season.
Yeah,
we would be talking about, okay, this switch is probably going to happen,
right?
Now.
Yeah.
But it's not how it happened.
The Kings need to have somebody to replace him with. I think it's literally as simple as that. I think if they had another option, they probably would have gone to him. And that's why I'm going to continue. And I know you're on my side too, but like at the draft, like it just makes the most sense to try and bring in somebody who could potentially be in that spot for, at the very least the next 4 to 6, 7 years. Yeah. I think that's the hope, is that you can find somebody to emerge at that position, because if he's going to give you the production he gave you last year, I just think coming off the bench is where his role is going to be. And I think he can find a way to be productive there. I just think, his days as a starter, if he's going to continue to, it's so tough, because I'm trying to find the balance of how much of this was directly Harrison Barnes's decision. And then we look at the touches. That's a team directive. If your touches are almost getting cut in half, that's intentional. That's not because you're sitting in the corner and not moving towards the ball and asking for it. It's because you have now kind of been, pushed to the side. And I think it was to help Keegan rise. And so if he's going to get that few of touches, I just, I kind of feel like his future is just going to be,
that's what I'm saying,
off the bench and just in a very, very muted, limited role.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that Harrison Barnes can't be a starter in some capacity.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is it feels like it's trending towards he's not going to be featured. They already talked about him not really having a role.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't run plays for Harrison Barnes.
Right.
So unless you're going to be some type of defensive specialist, which it's his birthday, so it'll be nice. Right. He is not, then it's what are we doing? Right. I like your idea. That's just a longer plan, right? Our let's say Tejan Salon.
Yeah.
Right. And he's a bit of a project. Sure. I think didn't we read he's 18 or,
he's
19?
One of the youngest prospects.
Okay, so Harrison, two more years of Harrison Barnes. Tejan shows some things the first year.
We do Tristan Da Silva, where he's a little more ready.
Yes, a little more ready. That's still probably 2. Hopefully,
we'll say 1. Yeah,
one.
The hope, like best case, is at the end of the season he really is.
Everybody is talking about trading Harrison Barnes. Nobody is talking about that plan, because that plan would take longer, but and it's a gamble, because these kids, this is still supposed to be the worst draft in the history of basketball.
That's also why I think the real plan is to replace Harrison via trade, right? Yeah. Like it's going to be hopefully the Brandon Ingram, the Kyle Kuzma, the whoever. I think whoever they bring in is more than likely going to be, if it's not for Harrison, I think that person is going to probably take that role and probably take a lot of his minutes too. So I think kind of irregardless, I don't know which one it would be. I think Harrison Barnes is going to have a severely diminished role next year.
All right, let's get into Keegan Murray.
Let's do it.
And close it out right. Keegan Murray, when I look at, I guess, his parallels that are still playing, I mean, Michael Porter Jr. is done now, but he didn't really play too well. Look at where else do you see kind of Keegan type guys? I mean, oddly, do the Celtics have a Keegan type of guy? I don't think it's Derek White.
Really, yeah. I mean, Derek White's like a version of it, but obviously Keegan just kind of does it differently.
I mean, we had somebody. Remember Tatum? Remember we got the call for Tatum?
God, yeah. There's that. No. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of if there's. I don't think that there's any parallel.
Now I'm thinking about Keegan everybody that's left.
Yeah, no, I don't think that there's anyone on Dallas. Like Keegan's better than PJ Washington, so that's that's not going to be his role. He's not Jaden McDaniels. He's that's almost the complete opposite.
Not Cat
at all. I mean, I think that it's more just Keegan would be somebody that the Kings need to have. In theory, if I'm more thinking of Minnesota, Keegan needs to be the one to have those Jaden McDaniels performances, or maybe even, taking it to the Dallas side. And Keegan needs to be the Kings version of Dante Exum, of Tim Hardaway Jr., of all of those guys, but in one. And when I say that, I more mean like Keegan needs to be that guy that steps up he needs to be the consistent third scorer. That was supposed to be his role this season, was almost every night you're going to factor in Keegan to either be the third or the second scorer on any given night. And I think Malik stepped into that role more so than Keegan did. And I think maybe that's the key, is just for Keegan to be that guy who, if Keegan Murray has a big game tonight, it's going to be really tough for the other team to win, because De'Aaron's going to bring this. Sabonis is going to bring that. And so if Keegan has 20-plus points, that's the Michael Porter Jr. That's the Jaden McDaniels hitting 6 threes. That's the guy where you just can't let him go off, because if he does, that puts that team to a completely different level. And I would say however Keegan has to go about being that guy, whether it's off the dribble or if it's just a mentality thing, if it's finishing at the rim better than he did ever in his career, he just needs to be that consistent third scorer. That's what I think he needs to evolve into this season.
Yeah, I think obviously his defense is going to continue to improve. His offensive repertoire needs to get deeper, needs to get a bigger bag, needs to get a deeper bag. We saw him work on a lot of things literally in real time during the season. Okay, cool. That crafty move was nice, but you bricked it. You got to make that shot. You have to convert on some of these new things that you've been trying. And I'll put into the same category as I did with Kevin Huerter, be able to shoot off the dribble. Everybody knows you're a shooter now, Keegan. So they're going to make sure, they're going to do their best to make sure you don't get wide open shots. Right. So you have to be willing to shoot contested shots. You have to be willing to create on your own. And to your point, Chris, and to the point of getting a deeper bag, get to the free throw line. You're a guy, you can shoot the three ball. We know you can shoot. So force the issue. You're another with the guy between Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox, and what Keegan Murray should become. No team should ever go on a 15-0 run. They have enough guys to force the issue and make sure that you at least put some points on the board.
Yep.
If they do what they're supposed to do. So that's what I would say with Keegan Murray. Coming up next, Bleacher Report is sending a star to the Kings, but what's it going to cost Sacramento? We detail that and more coming up next. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The countdown to Miss Twin Peaks 2024 is on. Head over to MissTwinPeaks2024.com to learn about the contest and cast your 5 votes for your favorite Twin Peaks girl.
Vapes and cigarettes are responsible for the excessive amount of secondhand smoke in California.
From our sidewalks to our parks, restaurants, offices, and work sites, over half of Californians are at risk of being exposed to thousands of toxic chemicals.
Go to secondhanddangers.org for an action plan to protect yourself and your family from toxic harm that could last a lifetime.
Because even outdoors, there's no such thing as safe secondhand smoke.
Sponsored by Breathe California, Sacramento region.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Yesterday, the Kings were getting Brandon Ingram. Today, they're getting a star from the East. And that price tag really was pretty good on Brandon Ingram. But this is the season of mock drafts. If your team is already cooked, just like the Kings are cooked. And Chris, Who does Bleacher Report have coming to the Kings, and what's it going to cost them?
Yeah, Alan, I'm very sorry to report this for you because anyone who listened to the show yesterday or has listened to the show in the past couple of weeks knows your feelings on this, but Bleacher Report is trying to send Jimmy Butler over to Sacramento. And
I'm not, look.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. I just need to know what it costs.
Yes. And when you learn what it's going to cost, Alan, let me tell you, you're not going to change your mind. And we did the trades yesterday, right? Alan just looked at the trade. When we read off yesterday the Bleacher Report article that had the Kings potentially getting Brandon Ingram in their Jimmy Butler trade, it was, I think it was 3 players and 3 first-round picks for Jimmy Butler. Alan, I've got almost the exact same trade for you from the Kings' perspective. This is, again, from Bleacher Report. They have one new trade idea for every team, and this was released yesterday. So this is brand new. Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, Davion Mitchell, the number 13 pick.
No.
2028 first-round pick.
No.
And a first-round pick in 2030. When Alan's child will be entering high school.
I'll be coaching her softball team
for Jimmy Butler, and that's it, which is kind of crazy to me. I think
that's it,
I
huh?
think you would probably want, hopefully, just like, I don't know, somebody. Give me Hayward Highsmith or something. I don't give me something else if I'm giving up Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, Davion Mitchell, this year's 13th pick, the 2028 first-round pick, and 2030 first-round pick when Rain Fox will potentially be entering the draft. Or maybe his new kid. I don't even know point, what's going to be happening. Here's the write-up from Bleacher Report trying to explain. While the Heat could not sound less interested in a Butler blockbuster, perhaps a few anxious rounds of extension negotiations could change that. Between his lengthy injury history and upcoming 35th birthday, he won't necessarily just be handed a blank check. But if Miami tries penny pinching on a new deal, maybe Butler will decide it's time for him to move on. It isn't quite a perfect schematic fit in Sacramento as he's low volume, low efficiency three-point shooter. Still, the Kings could use his tenacity as a tone setter. That's what I'm talking about. Not to mention his big stage savvy, defensive versatility, and secondary scoring and shot creation. It would take an aggressive offer to pry him out of Miami, but this might qualify. I freaking hope so.
Yeah.
Especially if there are fans of Huerter and Mitchell in the Heat front office. This would give the Heat the number 13 and 15 pick in the draft, meaning they could beef up their youth in a hurry or have the flexibility to chase another star if one were to become up on the board. They might still need a pick swap or two to seriously consider this, which is crazy that the Heat would want more. But that's a concession the Kings could make if their initial offer can't get it done.
And then you got to pay, Jimmy the max.
Yes. He's already getting $250, pretty much 2 years, $100 million. And then he wants a max extension after that, which I think would be somewhere near that same ballpark range. So
I don't know that I've ever hated a trade more.
So let's talk about, if we can, at least just maybe we'll do both sides of this.
Sure.
The positives, I would say, are, again, you're trading off Harrison Barnes, who I think everyone's comfortable moving for, especially for a star. Kevin Huerter, who I think, again, same thing. Davion Mitchell, I think some people are a little undecided on, but I think, again, I don't know what Davion's future is. It's almost like Mike Brown, where he's kind of going into a lame duck season as well. And, I would honestly be really curious. This might be one of the lead storylines of next year. Like, what do people want to do with Davion? Do you want to extend him? Do you want to try and find something else? Do you want to kind of do exactly what you did to get him and just take a backup point guard in the draft? So that's kind of an interesting decision that's looming that you can kind of get rid of. 13th pick, we've talked about the indecision at 13 anyway. And of course, the big ones are 28 and 30, where Jimmy Butler 4 years from now is going to be 39 years old.
39.
Who knows if he'll be on the Kings? And that's just the first of your, well, I guess it's technically the second, but you still have a 2030 pick where Jimmy Butler will be 41 years old, probably, hopefully at that point, not on the Kings anymore, but you're essentially,
it could be his kid.
It definitely could be. I mean, at that point, you're just kind of, if you're Miami, you're saying, well, this is an organization that's been bad for 16 years and been above average for 2. I think I'll take the odds that 8 years from now or 6 years from now, maybe that'll be one of their down years and we'll get a good pick. So it's that to me reeks of, and I don't even necessarily mean this in a completely negative way, but it kind of reeks of desperation. Like, to me, this is look, Allen bought the Carolina Reaper. It's being shipped over here. Right. We need to do something. And that to me is the only way I can really palate this kind of move.
And I'm not even against giving all that up. Yeah. I'm against giving all that up for Jimmy Butler.
35 is tough.
I will give that much up for a player, but it ain't Jimmy Butler. From the 916, please, God, no. No Jimmy Buckets.
I just hear like the Michael Scott, no, God, no.
I mean, the other positive is, sure, you're not giving up. Would you trade if it's, well, just throw Keegan. Fine. Throw Keegan in and you can keep the 2 picks in Davion. I don't want to do that either.
I don't want to do that. Yeah.
I don't want to do that either. No. Stay far away from Coffee Man. Stay far away from what
he's got good commercials with Jaime Hawkins.
Yeah. Right? Stay far away from Mr. Panic at the Disco.
Big face. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it's a little rich. I mean, Jimmy's been a 20-point per game scorer his last 4 years, really 5 years since he's gotten in Miami. He's been a 20-point per game scorer. Who do you think you are? But yeah, I mean, you're getting somebody who's good defensively, but as he ages, his athleticism and maybe his general usefulness starts to decline. And Jimmy's somebody who has always kind of picked him up from his bootstraps and elevated himself to otherworldly performances. The older he gets, the less he'll be able to channel any of that. And so I've been on this station promoting the Kings getting, frankly, directly Jimmy Butler, but a guy like Jimmy Butler, I just don't think that it's worth this kind of price. This is too much for me. 3 first-round picks, 3 players that are all really big contributors for this team. The other point is Jimmy Butler even replacing the production of those 3 guys combined? Like, if you're taking out Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and Davion Mitchell and just throwing in Jimmy Butler, yeah, Jimmy's going to do some of the things that fill in the gaps there, but you're still, I feel like, overall missing a lot more than you're getting back.
And at that point, right, because you've done all that.
For an already imperfect team.
So now, I guess you're hoping that Malik Monk stays, so he's in the starting lineup. Because if he's not there, I don't even know who's. So Trey Lyles and Jimmy at the 2. What is happening?
I don't know.
What is that?
Maybe this is Bleacher Report balancing out the world, balancing out the universe. We only gave up 1 first-round pick for Brandon Ingram in their trade yesterday. Maybe this is them saying you're not going to get off that easy. And I really don't know. I think that the crazy thing is I don't think that that's not going to be what Jimmy goes for. I think it just takes one. I just don't think that one is going to be the Kings.
It better not be the Kings.
It's going to be somebody else.
And speaking of Jimmy,
there's a lot of Philly rumors with Jimmy.
There's a lot of Philly rumors. Yeah. And speaking of Jimmy, 2 mystery teams are willing to trade for Jimmy Butler and sign him to a full max extension. That is per Anthony Chang, who had more reports on Jimmy a couple days ago as well. He's the Miami Heat reporter for the Miami Herald. He says, along with the 76ers, according to league sources, there are 2 other teams that have made it known in league circles that they would be willing to trade for Butler and sign him to a max extension. Butler turns 35 on September 14th. One of those teams better be the Pistons, and the other team better be the Jazz. It better not be the Sacramento Kings.
The Jazz is interesting.
Yeah, go to Utah.
Yeah. I just know they really want somebody.
They got good coffee up there. Coming up next, TC, we see you. We'll get to you. Also, if Malik Monk leaves, we got a guy that could be a target. Do you want him? Let's find out. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Our first year as the radio home of the San Francisco 49ers is one we will never forget.
It's a toss to McCaffrey, a cutback run 30, breaks 340. McCaffrey midfield. McCaffrey 40, 30, 20, and toasted all the way down to the 3-yard line on the first play of the game. CMC Dynamite!
Congratulations to the 49ers on a terrific year, and thank you for so many wonderful memories.
Okay, real talk. If you want to set yourself up for a great summer, you need to get to Kohl's this weekend. I just shopped the Red Hot Buys, and the prices were so good, I feel like I'm already on vacation. I found myself cute dresses for 30% off, swimwear for my kids starting at $14.99, and adorable finds from Carter's for 60% off. Plus, I saved up to 85% off clearance after an extra 50% off. So if you want a head start on your summer prep, then head to Kohl's now. Select styles, extra 50% off clearance valid through June 6th. Some exclusions apply. See store locals.com for details.
What's keeping you from learning the language you've always wanted to speak?
Too hard.
Takes too long. Not with Babbel. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make learning fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. And in 10 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons are designed to get you having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
That's not long. It's not hard. It's perfect.
It starts here. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Elevate your golf game at Timber Creek Golf Course in Roseville. Just named to the prestigious Golfer's Choice 2024 Top 25 Public Golf Courses in all of California by Golf Pass. Timber Creek offers an unparalleled experience. Our revamped practice facility features a grass driving range, expanded putting greens, and a chipping area complete with sand traps. Whether you're a pro or just starting your golf journey, Timber Creek is the place to be. Visit us and discover why we're the talk of Sacramento and beyond. Unwind and tee off at Timber Creek Golf Course. Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Hagen Oaks Demo Days is in the home stretch, and this is your last chance to register for an individual fitting appointment with the manufacturer's fitting staff from Ping, TaylorMade, Mizuno, Callaway, Cleveland, Strixon, and Zexio. You've waited many long months for the new golf season, and Hagen Oaks has your new golf gear right now. Book your individual Hagen Oaks Demo Days fitting appointment. Call 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for your personal fitting. Hagen Oaks, Fulton Avenue at Cap City Freeway or HagenOaks.com.
Sacramento, Dirk Bentley is coming to town.
Hey y'all, this is Dirk Bentley.
Saturday, September 28th at Heart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends.
This is Bonnie. Take my hand, let me make you mine.
Hey, it's Dasha. Kelsey Hart and more. Saturday, September 28th at Heart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets before they sell out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by Coors Light.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sactown Sports 1140.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
A's are trying to hang on to the lead. Shea Langeliers hit a bombo to put the A's up 4-3. And Randy Arozarena trying to swipe second base. I was reading something, Chris, who basically Randy Arozarena when...
Sorry, I'm not familiar with that pronunciation.
Did you hear Kyle do that this morning? And Dave told him to stop? Dave told him to stop. It was Willie Contreras on the Brewers because they were doing
William Contreras.
That's what he did, and Kyle told him to stop. Or Dave told him to stop, And he did, and he said, "Say Billy Contreras."
And it was because he was jealous that he couldn't roll his R's. Is that what he said?
I think.
I don't know.
I
Maybe
think
it's because it's unnecessary.
No.
Kyle,
Call
you got to
it.
defend yourself. You got to defend yourself as they're looking for a review. But yeah, basically, Randy has not been playing well, and he just got called out against as he tries to steal on the A's. A's still winning 4-3 heading into the 6th inning with Langleyers coming up again. And my guy, Zach Geloff. But yeah, when Siri robbed that home run, Randy wasn't smiling at all as Siri was super juiced. And I was reading some Tampa Bay Rays stuff, and I guess they said, 1, Randy's been struggling as he just gets thrown out at second. And 2, Randy as a left fielder has been notorious for not giving up to the center fielder. And everybody knows if you know who does that, former center fielders that are salty.
Exactly.
So
exactly
Randy is trying to do too much, and you got to get out of the way, Randy. But A's are trying to hold on as they head into the 6th inning. Before we continue the conversation on Jimmy Butler, there's another team who is interested in Jimmy Butler, also in Northern California, and who the Kings should replace Malik Monk with if he leaves. Let's get to our guy, TC, who wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, TC? What you got for us?
Alan, Chris, what's up?
Just vibing, man. You know how it is on this Thursday.
Yeah, just vibing. Hey, so I kind of want to get in as far as the Mike Brown contract, bro. Y'all know how I feel about that, man. It don't pay the man. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, think about it on the flip side. What if Mike is, the one holding the contract conversations that to say, hey, I want to see what money is about to do, bro. You making these handicap moves, bro, not getting the guys that I want to get in here. Are we able to put the guys that I want in here? If not, then we might have to think about something else after that. You get what I'm saying? Mike could be on the hold. You know what I'm saying? Because money's penny pinching, want to distress asset. I don't know, bro, but that could be the play. It might not be just all on Uncle V. It might be on Mike, too, to be like, hey, bro, I don't want to talk about my contract right now until we find out what team we're going to put together, bro. Like, money, I need you to make moves. We need to try to bust a move and get a guy in here. As far as Jimmy Butler, I'm taking Jimmy Butler, bro, without a doubt. Not only am I taking him, bro, if we're going to take the sign to the contract, you guys can't be mad at that, bro, because he's the type of guy we need to come here. I don't care. At 35, he's playing 60 games. We have a deep enough team around him to surround him, but his mentality and what he'll bring to the team, this whole super laid-back mantra that the whole team has, like taking after Fox, Jimmy's going to come in and switch all that up in a good way. I know Malik kind of switched it up, but imagine Malik with Jimmy, with his attitude, bro. This team would be in line, bro, and we wouldn't be blowing 20-point leads, period. I take Jimmy in a heartbeat, bro, with his dog mentality, period. And when he's on the court, he also is going to contribute. But I'm taking Jimmy, bro. I'm not denying that trade, in my opinion.
Thanks for the call, TC. And yeah, to be clear, it's not about TC, or excuse me, it's not about. I love TC. It's not about not wanting Jimmy Butler. It's about the cost. Yeah. And to me,
both costs, the cost to acquire and then cost to retain.
Right. Because Jimmy Butler wants that max deal, and that's why even though he wants to stay in Miami, he doesn't know if he will because he wants to go where the money goes. But he's a winner. He's just a winner who also wants his money. I want to get into what TC had to say about Mike Brown because somebody else said this on the text line yesterday. Is the issue a matter of philosophy? Now, the philosophy between Mike Brown and wanting to focus on the defense, Vivek, and wanting to focus on the offense, and Monty McNair being caught somewhere in the middle, trying to figure out what type of guys to bring in. I'm not sure if anybody would say, don't pay me until I know the team, though.
Yeah.
You would still want to get your money.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can't figure out if there's ever been a coach in history that has said, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, there's some situations that run the course and, both parties will agree to leave or maybe, but I can't remember a situation where maybe a coach was like, I don't really believe what's the direction that we're going right now. I don't know if my goals align with the organizational goals and I personally want to go shop the market. I really can't think of a time in which a coach decided to do that. Usually coaches will always take stability and will say, oh, you're willing to keep me at this job. I will take that and run with it. So I can't imagine that Mike's doing that, because I would assume in any negotiation, Mike would understand that he's going to have a say in the team anyway.
Right.
So he's always going to believe, I would think, that no matter what's going to happen, I am going to have at least some say in who's going to be on the roster. But if that's not happening, then sure, absolutely, possibly. But I just don't think that's really a factor. I don't think Mike Brown's going to wait for Malik's decision before he signs, because I think Mike would understand that Malik's probably actually going to be the one doing that.
Right. I just think, even though the whole idea before we talked to Dave yesterday was that Mike Brown's camp possibly leaked this information, and then it switched over to maybe it was the Kings, even though Mike Brown's perceived leverage has gone up, and even talking to Sam Amick from The Athletic earlier today, Dave did on his show, the price tag might go up. There is perceived leverage versus actual leverage, and I'm not sure that Mike Brown feels like he has enough leverage to do something like that. You still want to just get your money and figure it out.
Totally.
Figure it out later.
Yeah. I would think that Mike Brown wants a contract extension, because he's also not, he's also very aware that if he's unsuccessful this season, he might not get another job.
Right. You're not the hot name anymore.
No, it took him a while. He had to go to the Warriors bench. It was a long time between Mike Brown's Laker gig and this Kings gig. He had to do a lot of soul searching. He had to do a lot of, I'm sure, kind of, restoring your standing within the league. And, I don't think anybody wants to go through that again. I think if Mike Brown has an offer that he feels like is fair, he's going to take it. He's not going to think about situation or anything like that. I just think that this is I personally think that a lot of this is just ownership or that side of things, front office, not wanting to concede to Mike Brown's side.
When you look at the last 2 years, and Carmichael Dave, he posted this yesterday, Sacramento Kings, the last 2 years under Mike Brown, 94-70, 4 postseason wins. The Los Angeles Clippers last 2 years under Ty Lue, 95-69, 3 postseason wins. And when Dave spoke to Sam Amick about that, Sam said that ring might have some dust on it, but
sure,
it still counts. And I think all rings are kind of weighted differently. And I think it's not just me saying that. I think the league tells you that. If Frank Vogel can get fired after, and I know it's a Lakers, so I don't know, how the Lakers are, but if Frank Vogel can get fired 2 years after winning a championship, and they all promise that it's the same or even harder. We've heard players say that bubble was harder than other rings or other seasons. For him to get fired 2 years later, I do think it's really interesting how much perception matters in life, but specifically in coaching. And Ty Lue is seen as a very good coach, right? I remember, Chris, it was a couple years ago. I think he was still with the Clippers, where a couple guys were injured, right? I think the stars were injured. Maybe he had one of the stars, and the Clippers were rolling. Ultimately, they didn't end up doing anything. But it's this idea, once you have a stretch where you do really well when nobody expects you to do well, all of a sudden you're a good coach. That's the Eric Spoelstra kind of situation.
Sure.
What's weird is Mike Brown hasn't really done. I mean, I guess with the Cavs, he had LeBron, but let's talk his time with the Kings. He hasn't really done that. Even though he had a huge opportunity to pull off getting into the playoffs without Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter, I still don't see how it's being counted against him. Do I see it as a missed opportunity for Coach Mike Brown? Yeah, but I also don't see it as something that I would put as a strike against him.
I mean, I
But
agree.
maybe that's Vivek saying, well, I'm not using it as a strike against him. He's still getting paid this season, but I just don't think I need to give him an extension.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get that side of things. I feel like, we've seen coach of the years get fired. Even like Dwayne Casey was named coach of the year and was fired in the same season. I think George Karl was named coach of the year and got fired either in the same season or in the next season after.
Didn't Blatt get fired while they were the first
right
first seed, or they were top 3 seed?
Yeah, he got fired. I can't
and
even remember.
To be fair,
during the season,
he lost with no Kyrie and no Kevin Love.
Right. Yeah.
To be fair. So, I mean, and I think LeBron just didn't like him.
Nobody liked him.
But
he was a weirdo.
I say all this to say there are really no rules with this thing. If you look back at some of these weird, and even just this past season with the Bucks, I think I guess there's more so no rules when it's clear that there's a disconnect with the players.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
No.
This is strictly, as far as we know, ownership versus Mike Brown.
And I don't get it. That's the part that I don't get. If it's just like, what exactly is, to your point about like, you don't really hold it against Mike Brown. So what is it? What is being held? What is the thing that is holding back whoever isn't okaying this Mike Brown re-signing? What is holding them back? What is the hesitation? Is it the fact they didn't make the playoffs and they're afraid that they're going to slip again this season? Like, I that's the part that I just don't get is, there's kind of a general, like you said yesterday, there's like 3 to 4 reasons why, or 3 to 5, who knows, but there's a couple reasons why a coach would be let go from a situation. And it doesn't feel like Mike Brown through 2 seasons has fit any of those enough to justify being not extended. So that's the part that I just can't understand. Is I get not being satisfied with not making the playoffs, but to the extent that you just are wholesale out on Mike Brown, I don't get it. I have not been able to piece that part together. And that's the part where, I again will say things don't have to be this way. I don't know any, or I should say just many other organizations that would even allow this to become a thing, because this is exactly what happens when you let a coach go into a lame duck season. People are going to talk about it probably more than they should. And, it's a completely avoidable situation. It's just kind of part of signing coaches is that you're understanding that you're possibly running the risk of paying him without him being your coach anymore. It just kind of is the reality of the NBA coaching cycle. And the fact that the Kings, aren't taking these past 2 years or even the success of last year and, the 46 wins, 2 wins less than they had the year previous. I just don't see how that's not being viewed as, all right, we'll re-sign him again. And I've said it 1,000 times. I'm going to continue to say it. We're not signing him for 10 years. It's not a 15-year contract. It's not a lifetime contract. It's 2 to 4 years extra on top of the deal. And you can always let him go in the middle of it, because that's what literally every other organization does. And the Kings have done it in the past.
Yeah. Coming up next, if Monk leaves, should the Kings target this other 6th man from the Western Conference? Also, we rank who's left in the NBA playoffs. We'll hear from Josh Hart and what he has to say. And at 12 o'clock, we got our mock draft today. It's from Bleacher Report. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Subscribe to Sactown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys, live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus, view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sactown Sports.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
In a world where everybody and their mother makes a primed trim board, contractors have to ask one question. Do I know what's under the primer? Available at just about every lumber yard you can imagine. Vintage trim boards are made from lodgepole pine. That's the stuff telephone poles and railroad ties are made of. It's durable. It's straight. It's been doing the job for generations. Manufactured right here in the USA. Ask for it by name. VintageTrimboards.com.
You see the TV commercials, everybody wants this car, the all-electric Kia EV9. Well, my friends at Elk Grove Kia have it on the lot today, and you could be driving it for only $499 a month. That's right, the 2024 North American Utility Vehicle of the Year. The all-electric Kia EV9 can be yours right now at Elk Grove Kia for only $499 a month. The summer sales event is going on right now at Elk Grove Kia and the Elk Grove Auto Mall. Everything, I would love to be driving a brand new car this summer, or maybe even just a car that's new to me. Well, guess what? Your credit won't be an issue out here at Elk Grove Kia. Everyone's approved. And Elk Grove Kia is committed to providing excellent customer service and getting you behind the wheel of a vehicle you're going to love. They go above and beyond the average dealerships. You're not going to find this kind of experience in Roseville or Vacaville or Sacramento or Davis. Only at Elk Grove Kia. That's why they have so many 5-star reviews. Come visit the showroom, see for yourself. Elk Grove Kia is in the Elk Grove Auto Mall. Or check out what they got on the lot right now anytime online at elkgrovekia.com. One at this price, $3,500 down, plus taxes and fees.
Some people just know safe drivers save more with Allstate. Just like they know a saxophone solo makes any song smoother. See? Smooth. And they know if you're a safe driver, you can save up to 40% with Allstate. Now that's nice.
Based on the national average premium savings for Allstate customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and based on how you buy. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater. Giants are grown at Sutter Health Park. The Sacramento Rivercats continue to fast-track talent to San Francisco, and there's more on the way. See them all in Sactown first. The Rivercats are home now through next Sunday. Grab your tickets at rivercats.com.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
He'll eat the table.
From the 510, let Jimmy bucket. That 510, I actually have the number memorized. That 510 has followed me from the Bay. And when we used to do night shows, we talk about Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, gosh.
And when Jimmy would, there was a stretch where Jimmy was cooking. I think it was when
he initially got there?
No, when Trey got hurt. And when it was right before Brock Purdy, and Jimmy said it felt like a couple of years ago or whatever he said, and it was either me or my co-host said, let Jimmy jack it. And moving forward, every night show, the 510 would text in, let Jimmy jack it. And my co-host would read the text, and that would essentially start the show, or we would say it at some point during the show. So shout out to you, 510. Thanks for following me out here to Sac. And now it's let Jimmy bucket. Well, we can't do that until Jimmy is on the team, and I'm not giving that out.
Jacket as in like throw it deep?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
I was like, I don't quite.
Let Jimmy jack it. Okay. There you go. And today it is.
Glad you got clarity on that.
Jimmy Jack. Sorry about that one. As we get into the NBA playoffs at 12 o'clock, we will have our mock draft. We have a couple mock drafts, and Chris wants to approach this differently because he knows I'm tired of this, and we'll explain exactly what I'm tired of. That's at 12, and then at 12:15, we will get into, if Malik Monk leaves, who should the sixth man from the West that may be made available should the Kings go after this guy as well. But as we rank who's left in the NBA playoffs, Chris, and I guess at this point, this is the last day we can do it, or maybe the last day we can do it with three teams, right? Because the Celtics are just chilling. And Josh Hart was on the pivot, and they were essentially ranking everybody. And he had said something very interesting when it comes to Jason Tatum and Jason Tatum versus Derek White. And Nate, do we have that?
That's left. You got Tatum there, Kyrie,
Luka,
Anthony Edwards,
and
Luka.
I love Ant.
Luka. Kyrie. I'm telling you, bro.
Luka,
Kyrie's up there. But I might put over just like impactful. I might put Derek White more impactful than JT. Look at every main play in the last 6 minutes of the fourth to overtime. Every big play he made. He's probably one of the most impactful players because he does just everything on the court and does everything at a very high level.
Especially since he cut his hair.
Once he let it go, bro, he became the man.
So, yeah, there was a little pump up music towards the end for their trailer. Derek White over Jason Tatum as more impactful. Yeah. This is the type of slander that just can't. Now it feels. Is it getting disrespectful now?
No. I think that there is something there for sure. I mean, I think Jason Tatum's a fantastic scorer, but especially on this team, I do think Derek White does a lot for these guys. Like he is he is part of the best defensive backcourt in the league with Drew Holiday. He's kind of their, he is their glue guy, but the ultimate glue guy. He does everything that you need for them out on the floor. Sometimes he can be a ball handler. He can be a knockdown shooter. He's one of their best defenders. Tatum is a really good isolation scorer. We'll see if maybe he has more impact when he has to go against either Ant or Luka, but I do kind of hear especially what Josh Hart is saying, because Josh Hart, I think, is kind of projecting there. Mm-hmm. Josh Hart's style of play is a lot more similar to Derek White's than Tatum.
Right.
I think there's something there. I don't know if I would ever go on record with saying that, but I definitely understand what he's saying.
I think it's disrespectful now. We're acting like Tatum is a bum scorer. He's not a bum on defense.
He's not, but it's just Derek White is being tasked with guarding the other team's best ball handlers, or locking down their ball handlers with Drew Holiday.
It's getting to the point where someone's going to ask the question, do the Celtics need Jason Tatum?
Do they? Could they? I mean, Chris, could they survive with a lesser number one? I think they could, because their team is so
take
good.
Away Jason Tatum.
I'm not saying take away Jason Tatum.
Yeah, no, I'm saying take away Jason Tatum.
Okay.
How far do they go?
Remove him from the
Remove him.
They're probably, I still would probably have taken them over the Pacers. I think if Jaylen Brown's your number one, you still got, maybe without Porzingis as well. That's a little tough, but I still think Derek White, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, give me whoever. I think that they would probably still be at the least in the conference finals.
Well, that's just a testament to how stacked they are.
Right. That's more what I'm saying is I just don't necessarily know if Tatum's impact is necessarily felt as much as, some of those other guys, because those other guys have to do so much to elevate the rest of their team, where Tatum, whether it's through necessity or just because of circumstance, he is not really asked to lift his team in the same way that those other guys are. Again, I don't know if I would full out say he's less impactful than Derek White, but I see, in terms of, if you're asking how many buckets is Derek White filling in terms of defense, passing, playmaking, XYZ, and how many buckets is Tatum filling, I think Derek White probably is filling more buckets. It's just Tatum's buckets might be more full, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Tatum's scoring a lot more than Derek White is, but I think Derek White is making more impact defensively. I think he's a really high IQ player. I'm not saying Tatum's doing nothing out there, but I think a majority of what Tatum is asked to do is be an elite scorer, be an elite isolation scorer. And defensively, I mean, yeah, he's going to be asked to guard probably their second best perimeter guy wing guy, because Jaylen Brown, I think, is the better defender. So he just kind of isn't asked to do carry as much water as everybody else.
Coming up next, we have a couple more picks for our mock draft, but Chris wants to do this a little differently because he knows I'm not going to be happy. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings play here.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead. Outstanding ball movement by Sacramento.
Every triple, every jam, every Kings win.
Sabonis with the jam over the Joker. He's got the three-point shot.
Get your Kings fix all season long.
Right here on your home of the Sacramento Kings.
Here's a steal by Fox, the breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. People come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate, the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort.
Do you have sore feet, an aching back, or plantar fasciitis? Then get to the Good Feet store nearest you for your free arch support fitting. Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Fox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The countdown to Miss Twin Peaks 2024 is on. Head over to MissTwinPeaks2024.com to learn about the contest and cast your 5 votes for your favorite Twin Peaks girl.
Our first year as the radio home of the San Francisco 49ers is one we will never forget.
And here's Purdy going to throw one deep, wide for Debo. Made the catch on the back shoulder. Touchdown! San Francisco!
And a back shoulder banger for Debo Samuel.
Congratulations to the 49ers on a terrific year. And thank you for so many wonderful memories.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-934-9217. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called
called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes, and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-934-9217 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217.
KHTKAM Sacramento. KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your new home for 49ers football in the 916.
Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
A's hanging on to the lead.
Apparently.
Bottom of the 7th. Scott Alexander is on the bump. And Chris, a lot of people don't know this, but I started my baseball career at Sonoma State. There was somebody else there while I was there.
Okay.
And his name was Scott Alexander.
Really?
Yeah, never faced him or anything. But yeah, we were both at Sonoma State at the same time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how is it? You never really hear much about Sonoma State. Like, because I mean, none of
D2
their sports programs are really prevalent.
Yeah, D2, they were really good back in the day when I was playing. You know, I got a couple thoughts that I probably won't share on air about how they run their program, but you know, some good people up there, and
it's where you met Mr. Anthony Slater, isn't it?
That is where I met Mr. Anthony Slater as well. We all kind of started there and went different ways, but yeah, Scotty Alexander, Sonoma State Seawolf, trying.
Is that what they are? The Seawolves.
The Seawolves.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know,
the
we're the
Seawolves.
River Cats, so I guess
That's also true. Yeah, they're all in the same.
Yeah, right.
Same book, I guess.
Oh, okay. I thought your boy Scotty almost got bombed.
Yeah, as the A's tried to take care of business here, 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Okay, Chris, where do you want to take this thing with the mock drafts?
Yeah.
Just go.
Okay.
Just go.
So, you know, as anyone who's been listening to the show regularly these past couple weeks, every single day at noon or around noon, we like to pull up mock drafts, whether it be from Bleacher Report, ESPN. Yesterday, I think we did a Hoops Hype consensus mock draft where they take all mock drafts and you know, compile it into what the average pick is for all these guys. And today, as I was looking for which mock draft we were going to be using, I looked up, you know, just typical Google search NBA mock draft, see what the most recent one is, and I see Bleacher Report has one, and I'm like, that's fantastic, so great. We can keep the good vibes going. And the problem is now is we're not seeing a lot of movement in the picks because you know, the combine has passed. I know we just had yesterday was the deadline for guys to pull out, so that's changed a couple things, but that's more at the back end of the draft. And we're just so far out. We're in this weird in-between period where the draft is a month away.
Right.
So nobody's really, you know, I think guys are really just doing their workouts now, and nobody's really formed full opinions. And definitely, even if they haven't expressed those to the media, and leaks and like things like that haven't started to come out quite yet. I'm saying all this to say, essentially, we're getting the same names that we've seen here the past couple weeks. And I think instead, especially looking at the names that are here in this Bleacher Report one that just got quote unquote updated today, they still have the Kings taking Devin Carter at number 13, which we didn't quite understand a couple weeks ago. It was May 21st when the last mock draft came out. He is still at number 13 in Jonathan Wasserman's mock draft for Bleacher Report. And then I say, okay, well, that's fine, Bleacher Report. Maybe we won't do that one. We'll look for another one. And then I go to On3, which is a very big college, more so in the recruiting spaces, but they made their own mock draft. And who do I see there but the guy we talked about yesterday, in Isaiah Collier? And so instead, Alan, of talking about the pick, and, you know, if you want to hear our thoughts on Isaiah Collier or Devin Carter, you can check out our YouTube channel. We have a couple videos on there of when we talked about those guys. Instead, Alan, I just want to have the conversation, something I know you've been talking about when we do these mock drafts.
Right.
Why? Why guards? Why does it seem as if all of these mock drafts have the Kings taking guard? And I ask that almost knowing already what the question is, because in a lot of these, the descriptor even says, in an offseason where the Kings could lose Malik Monk, this is a good potential replacement. I mean, first things first, I don't necessarily think, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think if Malik is gone, is the draft first and foremost the place that you would look to try and replace Malik Monk in terms of, I guess, just bench production, right? Because you're not going to expect somebody to be drafted, come off the bench and average 15 points a game. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, 15 is what, Keegan Murray did last season in his second year after a great rookie season. So I don't quite know what the thought is with them taking a guard in the draft to replace Malik Monk 2-3 years from now.
Well, and if that is the thought process, I'm moving up. I know it's not a perfect science, right? But if there's a guy you really think can do it, then I'm moving up. And really, it's about we said that this past season was the Caterpillar season. Now you're talking about that being next season, because now you're counting on a guy as your sixth man who is coming right from either the G League or overseas or college, but I'm moving up. I mean, is it possible Rob Dillingham can do some things?
I mean, we saw when Sean Cunningham, when he first released the names for who the Kings had talked to at the Combine,
right?
Alex Sarr and Donovan Clingan. To your point, those are guys who are in the top 3. So I don't know why the Kings would be talking to them unless it's maybe something they've considered.
Yeah, and Reed Shepherd, somebody like that.
Yeah,
but I'm not at 13. I'm at that point. You're not drafting for this coming season. Right. So to me, there's no point in, okay, we have to get a guard in case Malik leaves, because the chances of that guard at number 13 being Malik this coming season are very, 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 very slim.
Happening.
So you might as well just get whoever you think is going
best player available.
Yes.
It could be a guard, but it shouldn't be with the thought of this guy's replacing Malik, because this again comes to the conversation that we talked about in the regular season too, where stop thinking of Malik Monk as the sixth man, especially when it comes to things that the way that they're talking about it, because Malik isn't your traditional sixth man. He's not somebody who's just coming off the bench and adding a spark of offense. Malik finishes games.
Yes.
So if you're going to say Kings are drafting a person, to your point of drafting somebody to replace Malik Monk, it's not just they need a guard who's going to come off the bench and be a productive scorer. No, we're talking about somebody who now needs to be, if you're going to say replace Malik Monk, that's somebody who's replacing in the final 5 of the game. And, I bless all of these prospects. I don't think any of these guys are necessarily somebody that I would think immediately can replace Malik Monk like that. So I just don't think that you can really even factor Monk's free agency or anything into this draft. I think if the Kings are going to pick at 13, you got to just do best player available. And I think you do have to, in my opinion, I think you have to lean, if anything, the opposite of this direction. And we've talked about it plenty, but if you're leaning positionally at all, to me, it's got to be bigger. You got to look at the forwards. Look at how the Pelicans beat you. Alan, I've forgotten. Is it 5? Is it 6 times that they lost to the Pelicans last year?
It was 6.
You have to look at that model and say, what did they do that clearly we had no answer for? And to me, the obvious answer is length. And you have to get some of it.
Well, and you look at who's left in the playoffs right now and the Kings. I know we talked to some people that felt like the Kings aren't that small, but there's not being that small. They're not as small as the Warriors, but they're also not big. The Warriors, you beat the Warriors, so you're better than the Warriors, right? So that's not the standard. So when you look at who's still left, Timberwolves, long. Celtics, long. The Mavericks, they might not be they got longer getting PJ, and Gafford, what they have with Luka and Gafford, and what they have with Luka and Kyrie. So all of these teams, even Denver, okay, you're using the Denver model, but Denver is still longer than you.
Yeah.
So
Michael Porter's like 6'10".
So you have to see this and you have to evolve. And I think that if you're going to draft to be a part of trying to be a part of the evolution.
Yes.
Don't miss trying to draft something that most people aren't drafting anyway.
Right.
Put it to you like this. The best situation possible is, and I'd have to look up his numbers, Rob Dillingham becomes Darius Garland.
Right.
Okay. When that would happen, I have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, how many teams are running the two-star guard thing just doesn't work anymore.
Ask Cleveland.
One's got to go.
Yeah.
One has to go.
Yeah.
Right? Luka is a do-it-all. He's not even really a guard. He's everything. So you can't say I wouldn't say Luka and Kyrie. So you look around the league.
And it's just those two, really.
So that's why I don't really know why you would draft a guard anyway.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, especially when you consider, again, just how full they already are. I mean, I think that you still need a backup ball handler, but I'm not drafting one at 13. I think, to me, that's a veteran minimum free agent, in my opinion. You can get that for $3 to $5 million on the free agency market. I'm not taking that at 13 because Davion's still there too. I think Davion positionally plays more like a 2 at this point. You still got Keon Ellis. Again, Colby Jones is somebody I wholeheartedly believe Colby Jones is going to get playing time. He's going to need to. And then one of Kevin Huerter and Malik, at least one of Kevin Huerter and Malik. So I see the logjam at guard. I understand that, you just take good players and you deal with it. But in my opinion, I just think this team has desperately needed forwards for as long as I can remember, man. This team has never had good forward depth. And, even I think that's the best thing you can have is forward depth. Guard depth is good. It can definitely help you in some spots, but I would even argue the Kings guard depth doesn't help them where guard depth typically helps you in terms of ball handlers and playmakers. So I would try and get as long as you can get weird, be able to have some funky lineups out there. And at the very least, let Mike Brown have a cast of guys that he feels like these are all long athletic dudes that we can shut people down with. If I just want to go a straight defensive lineup or a lineup that can cause issues for somebody just because we have length and wingspan, I'm all for it. I think that's kind of the wave that I've seen the NBA trending here recently.
Yeah, the guard thing, you're chasing something that's gone, and there's no way to know. To me, it feels like a gamble, right? If you're gambling and you lose your the first game you played, right? What are you doing the rest of the night? Okay, well, I need to win back what. Now you're not actually winning. Now you're trying to win back what you lost. And if you lose Malik Monk, you just have to approach it a different way. Don't try to get back what you lost, because most of the time you don't.
Yes, exactly.
Most of the time you just got to wear those losses and go in a different direction. Maybe you do find something. I just cannot see the Kings, especially from a defensive standpoint. These smaller guards, a lot of times they struggle defensively because the rest of the league is getting so long.
Yeah.
So even if Rob Dillingham is a monster offense,
he has to be.
He has to be.
Yes, he has to be.
He has to be. And again, based on this timeline, another thing about the draft when it comes to this Mike Brown contract situation, how can you sit there and not take the most ready-made player if you're Monty McNair? Because if Mike Brown's seat is getting warm, Monty McNair's definitely ain't cool.
Yeah, exactly.
It definitely ain't cool because the two of you put it together, and Mike is trying to make it work. So I can't see them. I can't see that. As much as I like Tejan Salah, I don't even know that they would take an 18, 19-year-old because I just don't think they can afford to.
Yeah.
And I don't think they can afford to take an undersized guard either.
That's why my guy Tristan da Silva makes a lot of sense. He's older. He's 6'8", 6'9". He's a shooter. Makes a lot of sense to me, but I'll tell you what doesn't make sense is just all of these. I mean, especially point guards, man. Like, I just don't see where the value would be for the Kings in taking these young point guards, because if, let's say, you hit on Isaiah Collier has the high school pedigree. Again, he was the #1 recruit coming into this class. Let's say he just had a bad year at USC and he does pop. Well, where is minutes going to go? Like, you have De'Aaron Fox isn't going, to my knowledge, is not going anywhere. I don't necessarily think, to your earlier point, 2 point guards, we haven't seen that work.
From the 5-3-0, other than Fox and Malik, do the Kings have good offensive guards? I'd say they don't. I think that's fair.
Huerter.
Yeah. Kevin Huerter. Besides that, I think that's fair, but I would then ask, how many teams have more than 2 good offensive guards. Now the 530 would probably say, well, you're losing Malik. You need to get somebody. I'm not saying to not get somebody. We're going to get to this right after we get to it. I just don't know that you should look for that person in what is viewed as the weakest draft in the last 25 years. We'll tell you who that is and what he costs when we come back. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Fox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and Sactownsports.com.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices. Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips? But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of active liver.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. You can find Active Liver at Amazon.com or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. Or for a volume discount, visit NewNordicUSA.com. Go to new, NORDICUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
A's in a bit of a bind, trying to get out of it. That's all was man on first and second, trying to get out of that jam in the, what was it, Chris? The bottom of the 8th. Just put Mason Miller in now.
Yep.
Just put Mason Miller.
Just do it
in now. So this is where it gets a little spicy here. And we don't think we had a name for Thursdays because it normally isn't that spicy on Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, I think we might have flown the idea of Thirsty Thursdays because you need water to because
it's so spicy. Well, you need milk.
Milk.
It's really hot. That's what the Carolina Reaper. Well, this is what it is from the 530. The Kings aren't a ready now team. Other than Fox and Sabonis, they have to rebuild.
I mean, that's not that's a retool at that point. I mean, if you're keeping on Fox and Sabonis, that's not a rebuild. How do you rebuild? I mean, what is their rebuilding? You can't say rebuild and not say trading your stars. That's part of a rebuild by nature.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're planning to keep Sabonis, I mean, so what exactly the text line is saying there is more so you need to trade. I mean, HB and Herter are already on the block. Mm-hmm. So is it Keegan specifically? I mean, Malik is already at risk of leaving. If that's, I mean, you could maybe consider this offseason already kind of potentially blowing it up.
Yeah. Right. They're saying, hey, the team that got us to the playoffs. We're moving off of we've been trying to move off of 2 starters from that team. So yeah, the difference between retool and rebuild, you cannot rebuild. You're not going to rebuild and just keep De'Aaron Fox and
you can let
Sabonis.
Go of one of them. If you let go of one of them, that's a rebuild to me.
Yes. Well, I was saying if you let go to either way.
Yeah. I think you can rebuild around one of them. But to me, everything else is a retool. I mean, we're getting into semantics here, but to me, that's a retooling. If you're just figuring out guys around Domantas Sabonis and Fox, to me, that's not a rebuild because rebuild almost implies, okay, everything is restarting from zero, including like the timeline is now at 0. There's no next season we need to win. If you're rebuilding, that's pretty much a 3 to 5 year process for most teams. Of course, we know here in Sacramento, it's anywhere from 3 to 16.
And you're just not, you're not going to do that around a draft that is supposed to be weak. Now, I get it. Sometimes they get these things wrong, but this just doesn't seem like the opportune time.
No, and I mean, you're trying to go up. You're not trying to
with
go
Monty
back down.
McNair and the Mike Brown stuff. I mean, if that were the case, then move off of Mike Brown.
Right.
If you're about to rebuild,
exactly.
Then
that makes
this
sense.
would all make more sense. But
100%.
That also doesn't make sense if Vivek is mad that they didn't make the playoffs, because you definitely ain't going to make the playoffs if you rebuild next season.
No way.
I don't think that's where the Kings are at. All right, Chris, this is from Evan Sittery, friend of the station.
That's right.
The Jazz are expected to make Jordan Clarkson available on the trade market after renegotiating and extending his contract. Clarkson is owed only $14 million a year over the next 2 seasons. Utah could fetch additional draft capital from contenders in need of a scoring punch. Now, I don't know if this timing is going to work out, Chris, but I think it would be pretty obvious based on you were about to give Malik, what was it with Malik? 12 mil a year?
For what?
Or 17 a year. So Jordan Clarkson making 14 a year. You got to think the Jazz are going to say, yeah, that's a pretty good deal for Jordan Clarkson. So you need to cough up those draft picks. I don't know how much that would be. Jordan Clarkson has been a 6th man for the majority of his career. Last season, he averaged 17 points. Feels like he was injured a decent bit, but he played 55 games last season. He averaged 30 minutes. He averaged 17.1 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 5 assists.
That's what you like to see.
I don't know if this timing is going to work out, but are you interested in a Jordan Clarkson if Malik walks?
Absolutely. 100%. I mean, Clarkson has been 6th man of the year. He's been in the running. He finished 7th in 2017. He finished 1st. He won it in 2020. He finished 4th in 2021. He averaged 20 points a game the previous season. And then, as you mentioned, 17 points last season. I just think he's exactly what you would look for if you are trying to do 1-for-1 and replace Malik Monk. You can't do better than that. He's on a great contract. As you said, 2 years, 14 mil each year. Super, super digestible. You can trade just straight up HB for that, or you can, absolutely throw number 13 in that. And I would assume 13 and just some filler like Chris Duarte or something would definitely get that deal done, because if you're talking a lottery pick for a 32-year-old bench player, like regardless of if he's a 6 man or not, that's great return.
Right.
If not, the Kings should be getting maybe even something else back. I think that's great if Malik is going to be gone. The problem is timeline wise, the draft is late. I mean, we might even be exactly a month out from the NBA draft, and then free agency starts the first week of July. So the timeline is a little bit backwards, and you would be making that trade. And if you are making that trade, that pretty much writing on the wall for Malik on draft night. If that does happen on draft night, which of course, if you're trading 13, you would find out.
Would it be? Look, we saw the golf pictures and things like that. Sure. I don't know how this stuff normally goes, but would it be crazy if we've seen people go out of their way to put teams that have done right by them in a good spot? Would it be crazy? First of all, I don't know how legal it is, but just in a way to let the Kings know, hey, I'm out. I am good. I am leaving. Definitely. So that they knew before the draft. Definitely. You know what I mean? The Kings, they gave me an opportunity. I got love for the Kings. We are leaning in this direction. Yeah, now, technically, there haven't been conversations yet because it's not free agency. Sure. But again, that timing is a little tight. But if Malik were say, hey, just so you guys know, I'm leaning towards this direction. Yeah. Just to give you more flexibility, there's some numbers that I just can't say no to.
Totally. Exactly. Yeah. I think right there is exactly what he would say. Is it doesn't even have to necessarily be, hey, I'm moving on. Just, hey, if I get 23 out there, like if I get a $23 million or more contract, I'm taking it. And if you guys can't offer it, then you can read into that what you will. And if you can, then maybe you don't jump in and make this kind of move. But I would think that it's totally above board. And conversations can definitely be had, whether it be through 100% legal channels or, everybody talks, and you can definitely get that information out there if need be. But the Kings hopefully will need to know that information going into draft night. They better have some sort of idea, and hopefully it's more than an educated guess about what Malik is planning to do, or at least what his options are, or if he's going to drag it out, because that's something I keep thinking about when I see D'Angelo Russell maybe to the Magic, or Paul George and all his different options. I sit back here and I think, well, again, if these are going to be the priorities of Orlando or of OKC, I wonder what Malik's going to do. Is Malik going to just sit back and wait for everybody else to kind of make their decision, and then he'll get the lump sum of whatever's left? Or is he going to say, no, I am somebody who should be valued, and I'm going to make my decision on my time, and that might be the second or third day of free agency. So, I think all that stuff is going to factor into it. I ultimately just think that the Kings have to, as much as I don't want to believe it, I think the Kings have to operate as if he's not going to be there. And just because I think the odds are that he's going to take another deal. So I would say you have to operate as if he's not going to be there. But of course, it would be amazing if he does. The problem becomes if you do a deal like this and you have Clarkson on your roster already before Malik makes his decision. Clarkson and Malik are Spider-Man. They're doing the same exact thing.
916, Malik starts and Clarkson off the bench. That's from MGA.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the solution that they would go with.
Mike is going to pull his hair out off that defense.
That's just, the defense. Yeah, that's a great point. And then, also just shots in general. Like, Jordan's taking 15 shots a game. Malik is taking 10 to 15 shots a game. Sabonis probably has to take less than. Who knows about what Keegan, like it kind of throws off a little bit of the scoring balance.
I mean, I'd do it for the right price. I would do it.
I figure it out. Yeah, actually, Malik only took 12.5 shots per game last year, and Clarkson was all the way at 17. So
that's going to have to relax.
Yeah, exactly. Clarkson was at 14.
You're not in Utah anymore.
17 the year before. Yeah, so that's going to be the interesting thing too. Is are those two? Can they play with each other, next to each other, or is it a bit redundant to have both of them? Is it a different / better version of the problem you had with Trey Lyles and Sasha?
Coming up next, we continue the conversation on the Kings and the comparisons of other coaches around the league. And Mike Brown, as the bad man is in, Mason Miller just hit 100. A's still up 4-3 in the bottom of the ninth, trying to close out the Tampa Bay.
He's got to get like an Enter Sandman type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to figure out what his thing is.
He will in Sacramento. Yeah. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
The Summer Starts Here sales event is on now through Memorial Day at your Toyota dealer. Hit the road in a brand new Toyota truck and explore new trails on any terrain. The time is now, so don't miss out. Right now, get financing as low as 0% APR on 2024 Tundra Hybrid, or up to $2,000 cash back. Or check out the all-new redesigned 2024 Tacoma. Hurry, Toyota's Summer Starts Here sales event ends soon. Toyota, let's go places. Offer available for TFS buyers with premium-rated credit. Tundra Capstone models only. Excludes TRD Pro and 6324.
Sacramento, Dirk Bentley is coming to town.
Hey, y'all, this is Dirk Bentley.
Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends.
This is Father. Take my hand, let me make you mine.
It's Dasha, hit your boots, stop working to Kelsey Hart and more. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets before they sell out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by Coors Light.
Hagen Oaks Demo Days is in the home stretch, and this is your last chance to register for an individual fitting appointment with the manufacturer's fitting staff from Ping, TaylorMade, Mizuno, Callaway, Cleveland, Strixon, and Zexio. You've waited many long months for the new golf season, and Hagen Oaks has your new golf gear right now. Book your individual Hagen Oaks Demo Days fitting appointment. Call 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for your personal fitting. Hagen Oaks, Fulton Avenue at Cap City Freeway or HagenOaks.com.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% when you buy 68 or more OSB sheathing. And there's more. Save 10% on select James Hardy products when you buy in bulk. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S., over 15 million this year alone, and many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss even when you monitor your credit. If your identity's stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% their first year with my name, Clay, as the promo code at LifeLock.com.
Hagen Oaks Demo Days is in the home stretch, and this is your last chance to register for an individual fitting appointment with the manufacturer's fitting staff from Ping, TaylorMade, Mizuno, Callaway, Cleveland, Strixon, and Zexio. You've waited many long months for the new golf season, and Hagen Oaks has your new golf gear right now. Book your individual Hagen Oaks Demo Days fitting appointment. Call 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for your personal fitting. Hagen Oaks, Fulton Avenue at Cap City Freeway or HagenOaks.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The countdown to Miss Twin Peaks 2024 is on. Head over to MissTwinPeaks2024.com to learn about the contest and cast your 5 votes for your favorite Twin Peaks girl. Giants are grown at Sutter Health Park. The Sacramento Rivercats continue to fast-track talent to San Francisco, and there's more on the way. See them all in Sactown first. The Rivercats are home now through next Sunday. Grab your tickets at rivercats.com.
This is Sactown Sports.
We had kind of a ridiculous conversation yesterday about Chipotle. And I promise you we're not going down that path again. But I did want to let you know, Chris, speaking of Chipotle, somebody also brought up Panda. Panda Express releases spicy version of its most famous dish. The
Orange
fast
chicken?
food chain has launched a spicy version of its beloved orange
Come on.
beloved orange chicken that is in stores now through June 23rd.
Doesn't it already have that little spicy pepper? You know how they do that at Panda
No,
Express?
it comes. That's in the. I just got it the other day. That's the only reason.
I haven't had Panda in forever.
Beijing beef. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
is
that's
it
a Beijing
called?
beef.
Yeah,
There are a
yeah.
couple,
Or
but
maybe
yeah.
the Kung Pao.
I want
I
some spicy orange chicken.
wasn't doing my homework yesterday, but did you guys with Chipotle? I don't know if this was the conversation, but did you guys know about the recording thing at Chipotle?
Yes,
That's what
we
spurred
spent
it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
20 minutes. If our boss is listening, we spent 5
We
minutes
spent
on that.
like
We spent
2
30
minutes.
seconds.
Yes,
Yeah.
30 seconds on that. This is interesting from the 916. Are we starting to confuse what Malik brings on the court and to winning basketball with how likable he is?
No.
Are we accurately assessing his actual basketball value, or has his likability blurred our vision of what he really is?
I don't factor Malik's likability into his play really at all. I mean, I just think it's the 15 points a game. It's the 5 assists per game. It's just the sheer level of impact that he felt. It's the fact that he was the Kings' best clutch time player this year. To me, it really has nothing to do with his personality or his likability. It's all on the floor for me. I think he's hilarious, but I don't think that it affects how I view him.
Well, to me,
Of course, if he were like a D-bag, it probably wouldn't make me feel great about it. But no, I think that I feel like we properly value it.
honestly, the only thing I'll say is not about Malik's personality. I would say it's more about how the team was built and how Malik was so needed this season, and is that sustainable moving forward?
Right.
But as far as his likability, I think because he was so needed and he stepped up to the plate, it made him more likable, which is why people, But in a perfect world, I don't know. And I guess in a perfect world, on a championship team, should Malik be scoring 15 points a game?
No.
I don't know. Probably not. So I think it's connected. I will leave out the kind of likability piece, but I think it's all part of it. Nobody cares about who's that wide receiver? Keon Coleman, who just got drafted, I believe. Who was it, to the Bills? The wide receiver. And he's been hilarious. Apparently he's been hilarious, right? His press conferences and things like that. He's just a really funny dude, right? And Bills fans, oh my gosh, we're so happy we got him. There are so many wide receivers drafted, and they got their guy, right? And then you start seeing, I apparently during OTAs, he hasn't been great, or I've seen some reports like that. Nobody is going to care about your press conferences or how funny you are if you stink, okay? So I think his likability, Malik Monk's likability, is directly connected to how well he played.
Right.
Nobody cares about you being likable if you did not play well.
Because if you don't play well and you act like Malik does, you'll probably say, oh, this guy doesn't take it seriously.
Exactly.
Right? Doesn't take it seriously enough.
You would cook him for that.
Yeah.
You would cook him for that. So I don't think that anybody is out there doing that 916, because I don't think it's possible to do it, because nobody cares about somebody being funny or being likable if they're trash.
Right. No, absolutely. And it could be the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's like Keegan Murray, his quiet, calm nature.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me sometimes, I'll say, oh, it's actually kind of a detriment to him because, he's not aggressive and he's okay with kind of taking the back seat. But then if Keegan's averaging, if he's Kawhi Leonard, all of a sudden it's, he's calm, he's measured.
Yeah.
You're never going to frazzle him.
Right.
Always super, even keel, never too high, never too low. And it's always just the best. So, yeah, I mean, I think you're completely right. It all depends on, I think it's more so chicken or the egg, but I think it's definitely in this case more so that it's play first, and then your attitude will be reflected off of your play.
When you watched every single game this season, it was, I hope De'Aaron Fox balls out. I hope Sabonis balls out. But we still are probably going to need Malik Monk to do his thing too. And more often than not, he did. And that's exactly why he became likable as he is. It did not start with. So I guess if the question was, is he looked at as more likable, right, because of everything? Well, sure. But let's look at the rest of the market, and we have a breakdown.
But that doesn't also devalue what he brings.
No, and we have a breakdown comparing another guard that is going to be available to Malik Monk and what money is going to be offered. If they're talking about offering Malik Monk $25 million, I don't think, and we're stuck at the $17 million.
Right.
I don't think there are any Kings fans out there that have blurred, because what would that? I don't even know what that would even mean. Right now, you might be onto something 916 if the Kings weren't capped. And Chris, to your point, I think during a roundtable you had said maybe you don't want to lose Malik Monk. You wish you could get to $20 million a year.
Right.
But it's kind of good that it's capped, because somebody like a Vivek, who knows how liked Malik Monk is, maybe he brings them, whatever it takes to bring him back, and now you end up overpaying. And somebody, if somebody's giving Malik Monk $25 million a year, I love Malik, but that's an overpay.
Yeah,
that's an overpay to me. So that's not us. Those aren't our pockets. As far as what Malik means to this team, I don't think anybody is blowing it out of proportion. I think the question is, should that version of Malik be that needed on a team trying to win a championship?
Right. And for that, I would probably say, I mean, in an ideal world, probably don't rely on Malik as much. If you are trying to contend, like, of course you want him to be supplementary, but like, you don't really want him. You don't want him to be a need. You shouldn't go into every game saying we need one of our bench players to have 15, 20 points in order for us to have a chance today. Ideally, it still is a star-driven league. You want your stars to ultimately decide the games, and then Malik can be something that puts you over the top. I think his role was a bit not overvalued, but I think it became bigger than what it needed or probably should be. But I think moving forward, he's still going to, if he's going to remain here, he's going to remain a big piece. Like he's going to never be outside of the top 4 most important Kings on the roster, I wouldn't think, unless they really bring in a huge influx of talent. So I think Malik's always going to be needed as long as he's here.
That is an interesting balancing act, though, Chris, because if Malik goes to the Orlando Magic, he's probably the 3rd option.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe 2nd or 3rd. Yeah.
Right. At worst, 3rd.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So if he goes there, he at worst 2nd or 3rd. The Sixers gets interesting, but at this point, the Sixers, they got their eyes on bigger things. So I'm not even
these days.
I'm down to the Magic and then the bad teams like the Jazz and the Pistons, right?
The OKC thing.
The OKC thing, I don't know what he would be, but my point is Malik, you almost have to be careful what you ask for, right? Because sometimes if you want to win, you have to understand you have to take a step back.
Right.
So let's say in a perfect world, the Kings are able to pull off the Brandon Ingram deal and they are able to keep Malik Monk. Malik is now floating between 3rd option on some nights, 4th option on others.
Right.
So then it becomes a question. So now I'm taking less money. We're winning. We should be winning more, but I'm taking less money and my numbers are going to go down because I'm not shooting as much. So Malik has to figure out what he wants.
Yep.
He has to figure out what he wants.
It's the story of the offseason.
And that's why Whitey Gleason, who you can listen to here at 2 p.m., keeps talking about the Magic being a perfect fit because they can give him more money. We assume that, with the Suggs situation, everything like that, they can give him more money, but he would still be that 3rd option because other guards out there, they cannot shoot. All right, coming up next, we will be joined by Emil Fergoso, Sactown Sports 49ers Insider. We talk about Brandon Ayuk as Jalen Waddle gets paid, another wide receiver. A lot of these guys are getting paid, and Juwan Jennings gets paid too. What is up with the Niners? And we go around the NFL. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out SactownSports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on SactownSports.com.
You've seen the specials on Amazon, Netflix, Showtime, and more. Don't miss an evening with Steve Trevino.
Babe, can I go with Steve and have a drink at the casino? And then she started to speak wife. She looked at him right in the face and she goes, you can do whatever you want. And his dumb goes, told you. I go, oh, no, it's a trap. It's a trap.
Steve Trevino. Saturday, June 1st, the venue at Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Tickets on sale now at ThunderValleyResort.com. Don't miss an evening with Steve Trevino.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729 or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-934-9217. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-934-9217 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217.
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign.
Let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Joined by Emil Fregoso, Sactown Sports 49ers insider, as we break down all things Niners. Also going to get into just all around the NFL because it's all connected. Coming up next, we will discuss which other guard who has better stats than Malik Monk is not as wanted as him, and we will discuss why. But first, Emil Fregoso, how you doing?
Wonderful. Enjoying my summer, enjoying the peace and quiet of OTAs and off-season programs and mandatory minicamp coming up next week, and then our final break before season's back in July.
Emil, before we get to the Ayuk stuff and the Juwan Jennings stuff, can you answer me this question?
I already know where this is going.
And you know, Nate wasn't in yesterday, but you know, I've never seen something like this. Emil.
Oh no!
No!
I knew this is where you were going to start.
I've never seen somebody go.
I love this.
It's only the Niners could pull this off. Only the Niners.
Oh Lord!
I've never seen someone go from a reach in the NFL draft to a steal, but somehow Ricky Pearsall has gone from a reach to a steal that was taken in the first round.
Alan, you worked in the Bay Area for a long time. You understand how Niner media coverage works.
Everyone's the best.
Everyone's the best. There's fights in between other media members right now too. It's the offseason. This happens all the time.
There's media beef.
There's media beef. There's player beef. There's contract disputes. It's a typical Niner offseason.
That's right.
This is what this happens every year. And by the time training camp comes around, it all dies down because we got football to play, baby.
Yeah, that Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall connection, I heard it. Looks good.
I have to.
All right. But you would never hear anything otherwise.
Well, from certain people, yes.
Well, from certain people, you'd only hear the other side of things. All right, Jalen Waddle gets paid, and Nate, Chris, and I kind of got into it. I think this was off air when we talked about Jalen Waddle. Right. If he was healthy more often, would you take him over Brandon Ayuk? And really, whether you would or not, Jalen Waddle now gets paid. The Miami Dolphins have signed Jalen Waddle to a 3-year, $84.7 million contract that includes $76 million guaranteed. Waddle is one of the league's top 5 highest paid wide receivers. Emil, we're saying the same thing with the Kings when it comes to paying Mike Brown. And you see Ty Lue get paid. He's making $14 million a year. Sometimes patience isn't always a virtue. What's going to happen with Ayuk as more of these guys? Amon-Ra got paid last week, and now Waddle gets paid. What is happening, and what is going to happen with Brandon Ayuk?
Well, especially with Juwan Jennings getting a little bit of the bag yesterday, too. You're like, well, is everyone going to get paid? Is the sign Brandon's on the way out?
Right.
Everything I've heard and everything indicated to me is that Brandon Ayuk will be a 49er this season. He will sign a long-term extension. He is a part of their long-term plans. Now, he wants a certain number. We're all pretty aware what the number is in the range of $30 million a year annually because he wants to be paid as one of the top receivers in the NFL. And whether you think he is one of the top receivers in the NFL, that's where the market is, especially for the Niners who have allowed the market to be set this summer without paying their guy. And now they kind of have to, on the back end, just take care of it and get it done with because what they don't want is a holdout situation like Nick Bosa going to training camp.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I know Alan just mentioned the Mike Brown thing, and I'm going to continue to tie it into that. I mean, we see, Mike Budenholzer got paid $11 million, and then Ty Lue just gets paid, I think, $14 million yesterday, and we see Amon-Ra get paid $30 million, and today Jalen Waddle's at $28.5 million. So you pretty much just kind of said there, but I just want to hear you definitely say it. You think that those don't really have any, like the Ayuk number had already been established without those numbers being there, because obviously if you're going to split the difference, Amon-Ra, or I think last week we heard Ayuk say he wants Amon-Ra type money. Amon-Ra's at 30, and then Jalen Waddle's now making 28. That if you split the difference, that's $29 million. Is that kind of the number that you feel like Ayuk was going to be at anyway?
Yeah, he wanted to be around where the market was at. It was about where the market for the receivers were at right now for the 49ers and for Brandon Ayuk and his agent, who, again, have good relationships with John Lynch. Obviously, Ryan Williams of Athletes First is very good friends with John
he
Lynch.
was in his wedding.
He was in his
something?
wedding. Yes,
Yeah.
he was in his wedding. So they have a very good relationship. Now, it's about Brandon as well. There's always been the speculation of, does he want to leave? Does he want to go to have a bigger role? Does he want to get more targets? Does he want to have different opportunities elsewhere? Brandon Ayuk wants to stay a 49er. He just wants to get what he's earned and what he deserves to get on the market. And those two things can sometimes, be a clash with each other. But typically with the 49ers, and we've seen this over the years, they will pay for their A-listers. They won't pay for their B-listers. Is Brandon Ayuk an A-lister or a B-lister is the question you got to ask ourselves. I believe personally he's an A-lister and what he means to this offense, and because he is Brock Purdy's favorite target. Right. It's not Debo. It's not Jennings. It's Ayuk. That's his favorite target. I believe Brandon Ayuk is a A-lister. I think the Niners also believe that in the front office. It's about getting the deal done and making it financially viable because they have other contracts under big cap hits coming up after this season.
So I'm looking here, Emil. You got A.J. Brown making 32, Amon-Ra making 30, Tyreek making 30, Jalen Waddle making 28.2, and Devontae Adams making 28. Matt Mayoko, speaking of Niners media, said this about Juwan Jennings and how the extension impacts the wide receiver room. Now that we know Juwan Jennings is going to be with the club through 2025, now that we know Ricky Pearsall is going to be with the club for 4 years at least, it really kind of crystallizes, in my mind anyway, that Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk won't be around for the long term together. I don't think you can keep Debo through the entirety of his contract if you're able to sign Brandon Ayuk to a long-term extension this offseason. We had Brad SF Niners on shortly after the Super Bowl, and Brad, who is pretty close with Brandon Ayuk, said, look, it's about the money, but he also wants the rock. I don't understand. Are they prepared for, if Debo is the odd man out, are they prepared to essentially, as crazy as it sounds, make Debo a decoy this season and honestly a distressed asset, and at the end of the season we're just going to go our separate ways anyway? Because I know it's an overused sports term, but there's only one football.
Yes,
there's only one football.
There's only one football, and there's only so much of a window for a wide receiver, especially for how Debo plays, similar to how a running back plays to a degree of being physical and going through the tackles and whatnot. He's 27, 28 years old.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of time left at this peak, and Debo's had injury issues in the past. Even last year, missed a couple games due to a shoulder fracture. Debo was always, in my opinion, going to be the odd man out in this because of age and just experience of where they're at in this timeline. They want to have Brandon Ayuk be the focal point because he's 25, 26.
Right.
He has, especially with how he plays, that route running ability can translate into your early 30s. Debo's ability is more based off athleticism and pure raw talent. That doesn't always translate, and that's why Debo will probably be the odd man out, and maybe even George Kittle could be an odd man out next year too, especially considering his injury history.
Right. Yeah, when he came out and said that he's coming off a core muscle surgery and he's coming along just fine. Said his goal is to be ready for training camp, and all signs continue to point toward him being ready for training camp. But you have George Kittle. I saw something else, Emil, that was interesting. Someone said that the decision to sign Juwan Jennings means that personnel-wise, the Niners are essentially giving up on the tight end 2 situation because they just Cam Lott, they just haven't been able to figure it out. Let's just go with another receiver who's a big receiver and utilize him in different ways.
Yeah, for Kyle Shanahan's offense, it's all about difference makers and playmakers, regardless of what position you are designated at.
Right.
It's about, can you be versatile and play across the board? You even saw it this year with the draft and Ricky Pearsall, Jake McCowing, both multiple receivers who can play slot and outside.
I forgot about Cowing.
And he's been good so far too.
Yeah.
He's been really good so far too. He had a nice connection yesterday when I'm hearing from media reports.
Right.
It's about versatility for this offense. Yes, they try to get a tight end too. We all forget they had Brock Wright at the table. He was going to sign with the 49ers if the Lions did not match that offer of 3 for $12. He was going to be the tight end 2 for this Niner team. He was exactly the kind of guy they were looking for, a blocking tight end that can be physical and can play on the outside and be a kind of an emergency catch guy. Juwan Jennings is now going to be that guy and has been for many years for the Niners and has proven it and is deserving of the deal he got. But what does that leave for the rest of the guys who make all these big cap figures? A lot of decisions are coming up, especially considering Brock Purdy could be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL come next year.
Yeah. When we talk about The Last Dance and how a lot of people think this is the last dance for this version of the Niners, I think we've already discussed Debo.
Yeah.
Who else would not make it past the last dance, or who is in danger of not continuing with this Niner team after this season? We already have Debo there.
Yeah.
Who are some other names?
2 names on the defense. Actually, 3. Javon Hargrave, Javarius Ward,
okay,
and Talanoa Funga. All 3 are in make or break contract years.
Yeah.
The Niners can get out of the 4-year deal with Hargrave after this season. There is an out in his deal. If he plays to how he did last year and doesn't improve on that, because last year was, for his contract, subpar for his standards. Absolutely. A lot of that was the outside
he said
carrying.
he came in, he said he's in better shape this year.
Yes, he is.
Which is always so funny. What happened last year?
It was clear he came into camp a little heavy. It was pretty clear early on he had to work his way through the season. Bosa similarly.
Contract body.
Right.
Well, Bosa even too, the holdout. He even has admitted with Nick Bosa that holdout hindered his ability to prepare for the season.
Right.
It's why he's at OTAs right now. Because he knows that it's a year-round thing for the Niners to be in game shape all the time. But with that comes tough decisions on the other guys who don't live up to standards. Nick Bosa is going to carry his weight. Javarius Ward carried his weight last year, is looking for that extension now into the last year of his deal. Talanoa Funga got hurt, and while he was an all-pro as a rookie, what have you done for me lately? That's where John Lynch's head's at right now. Same thing with Eric Armstead in the tough decision they make to cut him. What have you done for me lately?
And now he's out in Florida eating Publix sandwiches on video.
Yeah.
So is Debo the only player? Thank you for kind of highlighting the defensive players. Is Debo the only player offensively in danger of not moving past the last dance season?
Maybe some offensive linemen too. Obviously, Colton McKivitz could be a
Kittle
guy.
safe, you would say?
Kittle would be the only other one I would say that is in danger because of his age and because of contract and injury history. The rest of them, they want to keep long term. They want to keep their line relatively young. Trent Williams can be there as long as he wants. As long as he can play football, he's allowed to be a left tackle there.
Right.
But everything else, besides Brock Purdy and Trent Williams and the actual skill players, that's all up in the air. It's always up in the air every year for the Niners.
Emil Fergoso, great stuff. This was one of your more fiery segments with us, so we will be sure to let everybody know it's going up on YouTube, and you can check that out at sactownsports.com or just search Sactown Sports on YouTube 1140 as well. Emil, thank you. Go check out Emil's work on sactownsports.com. Follow him on social media. Follow him on Twitter. He's a great follow, and he's coming through with a unique take on all things Niners, and not just Niners. Maybe he'll sneak in some Raiders talk as well. Emil, thank you so much.
Thank you, boys.
Coming up next, we compare Malik Monk to another guard in the Western Conference. Why does everybody want Malik Monk and not this guy who is Chris's second favorite player? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The only place you'll find De'Aaron Fox is Sactown Sports.
Spins away from the defender, in the paint, soft floater. That's a great play by De'Aaron Fox.
Hey Sacramento, it's De'Aaron Fox, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
My father was a career United States Air Force pilot, and Memorial Day is a reminder of all he and so many others did for our country. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Right now at the annual Memorial Day sale, everything in the store is on sale. Everything. You'll save 10 to 25% on all living rooms, to sofas, to sectionals, to dining rooms, to bedrooms, to home offices, and so much more. Everything is on sale right now at Naturewood Home Furnishings Memorial Day sale. Whether you're looking to lighten the mood in your living room, brighten up your bedroom, or tighten up your home office, it's all available for you at savings from 10 to 25% at Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop the area's best selection of quality furniture at Naturewood Home Furnishing, off Highway 50 in Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Sacramento sports fans, get ready to amp up your summer with the Sactown Sports live events calendar. We've got a lineup that's awesome. First up, mark your calendar for June 8th when NF takes the stage at the Golden One Center. Visit livenation.com for tickets and get ready for a killer high-energy show. Don't miss music legends Daryl Hall and Elvis Costello with the Imposters on June 12th, and NSYNC and Backstreet artists Joey Fatone and AJ McLean on June 22nd. Two great shows coming in June to Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Then looking ahead to August 4th, get ready for the Outlaw Music Festival at the Toyota Amphitheater, featuring legends like Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, and John Mellencamp. Presented by Live Nation. The Sactown Sports live events calendar, your ultimate playbook for the best shows and events in town. Stay tuned to Sactown Sports for exclusive updates and your chance to win tickets.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Thank you once again to Emil Fergoso. Always a pleasure. Go check out Emil's stuff on SactownSports.com and follow him on social media. So, Chris, there is a name that you're just not hearing about. And this guy was a starter on a team that went to the playoffs, okay, and struggled a little bit in the playoffs, but at the same time had some good moments as well. All of his stats, majority of his stats besides free throw by, what is it?
0.01%.
0.01%.
Or 0.1%, I'm sorry.
And for some reason, the blocks are actually tied, but they gave Malik this one. Why is no one talking about D'Angelo Russell? At all. I mean, at all.
Yeah.
They want to give D'Angelo Russell starts, okay? They want to give Malik up to $25 million a year. And I've heard no smoke about D'Angelo Russell anywhere.
You know why? Because he's trash. That's why. I mean, I am not a D'Angelo Russell guy. I feel like I've made that known. But I do think that it's just more everyone – I think the NBA has caught up with the guy that D'Angelo Russell is. Like, I just don't think that those numbers are necessarily – I don't want to say they're not legitimate. I mean, I was definitely shocked to learn that D'Lo averaged 18 points per game last year, shot 41%.
He's 28. He's 28.
I just think that he's been in enough situations to where people understand, like, yeah, his numbers might be one thing, but his impact has never been felt anywhere he went. I mean, you know, his best – I would say the best stretch of D'Angelo Russell's entire career was when he was kind of leading that young Brooklyn Nets team.
Mm-hmm. The ice in his veins.
And D'Angelo Russell was the focal figure of like a 37-win team. I think that's the problem. He was in Minnesota, and Minnesota could not find success with him, Cat, and Ant. And then they move off from him, get a lesser, I don't want to say lesser player, but a less productive player in Mike Conley. And I think everybody would say that they were better for it. It's just, I think every situation D'Angelo Russell has been in has been better off without him in it, with the exception of this Lakers season. This Lakers season was really, to me, the only time I have felt like in D'Angelo Russell's career, in a while, I should say, that he has been a positive for his team. So I think it's just that people aren't buying the 1 year of a contract year success, and people are more so going to lean into, I think, the guy that he's been his entire career. I could be wrong. Maybe he'll end. I didn't think he was going to get paid what he got paid this season, but I would hope that, well, I guess maybe not for Malik's sake, but I think that people around the league would value Malik, even though his numbers across the board aren't as good as D'Lo's. But who knows? I mean, I sent you this tweet, and it's from a Magic fan page, D'Angelo Russell versus Malik Monk. Guess which player Orlando Magic fans want more? Saying, like, I can't believe all of these Magic fans want Malik when his numbers are worse than D'Lo. And you look at the comments, it's a lot of people who are championing D'Lo. So maybe maybe Orlando is kind of starting to shift their tone on where that's going to go. Obviously that's great for the Kings if they lean D'Lo. I just think Malik's a better fit for them. I don't think if you add D'Angelo Russell to that Magic situation, I think he's going to try too hard to be their number 2 and stay as their number 2.
From the 916, he is snitch. half joking, and is not a team player.
I forgot about
in
that
my
completely.
opinion. I mean, I'm wondering if the snitch thing is still a thing.
That's crazy. I forgot about. I
saw
about that whole situation.
Nick Young, aka Swaggy P. I saw him post something. I think it was a couple weeks ago about D'Lo, and he was still roasting him, and he's still mad. He's still mad.
Do you remember that commercial that he made, or that D'Lo was in? I think it was like an Adidas commercial or something, where he's like hanging out with, I think, Ben Simmons or Cat or something, and he's like, "Hey, let me see your phone real quick," and then he just throws it out, and he's like, "Trust me, you're better off for that."
I don't know that I remember that.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's so good. And I mean, I had completely forgotten about that whole period of time. That was nuts. I do wonder I don't know if executives think about it still, but I'm sure around the league, people still probably are like, that dude is, he's that guy. And I've also heard some, off the floor, some concerning character things about D'Angelo Russell. Where he's just, I don't know, not that that's really what this is about.
The opposite of Malik Monk's likability.
Exactly. And so much so that he's just not the nicest person.
He didn't know it was a closeout game, or he didn't know what was on the line for the tiebreaker or whatever it was when they played the Kings. That wasn't a great look. But I'm just looking here, Chris. 41% from 3, 45% from the field, 18 points a game, 6.3 assists a game.
Good numbers.
They're good numbers.
Yeah. They don't mean anything, though. That's the problem.
But how? I'm very confused as to how.
I mean, you just watch him play, and it's like, I mean, yeah, he's getting points, but like, it doesn't, just because he's at 18 points a game doesn't mean he's at a certain tier in the NBA. Like, I just think, yes, he's a good player, but if you're going to put D'Angelo Russell next to other 18 point per game scorers, you're probably going to say he's not the same as those guys, is more where I'm getting at. I just don't think he really has and his defense. I mean, his defense he was a lot better this year, but in the past, it has been inexcusably terrible to the point where there are literal videos showing how, I think it was when he was in Minnesota, they would run defenses almost specifically around D'Angelo Russell because he was so bad. They essentially had him be a free safety and would run a zone because they couldn't trust him on ball. It's been really bad in the past. He's at 6 assists per game, but you wouldn't say he's really a floor general or anything like that. He has really good vision, but too many times he's just a score first point guard. And I just don't know if D'Angelo Russell is going to be your second best player, or your second best scorer. I just don't think your team is going to be that good.
So I'm looking here. I figured I would just pull up the numbers, and D'Angelo Russell was 51st when it comes to points per game. And you had Klay Thompson right under him at 17.9, Fred VanVleet under him at 17.4, Jordan Poole at 17.4, Brandon Miller at 17.3, Tobias Harris at 17.2, wow. Miles Turner 17.1, Emmanuel Quickley at 17. So, yeah, I mean, if you look at it like that, Colin Sexton was at 18.7.
Well, maybe I should change, and I think he is in the caliber of all those guys.
Yeah, no,
all of those guys are
I agree.
Pretty not overrated, but again, I would say all of those guys, yeah, their numbers might look good, but I wouldn't say any of those guys are as good as
funny enough
would suggest.
Right. Once you get to that 18, none of them are real. So you had Jalen Williams, who took a leap to 19.1, and obviously he was on a contender with OKC. Colin Sexton, 18.7. He's doing whatever the heck he wants on the Jazz. They're not winning. Vucevic, 18 points a game for the Bulls, who the Bulls didn't do anything. You have D'Lo, of course. You have Klay Thompson, 17.9. They didn't do anything. You had Houston, Fred VanVleet, 17.4. They didn't do anything. Jordan Poole, 17.4. They didn't do anything. Brandon Miller, 17.3. It's not until Miles Turner and Tobias Harris, who basically that's from some injuries and things like that. So that is just it's a really broad group of players.
It is, yeah.
Once you get to
no man's land almost.
18 to I guess 18 and 17 points per game is just the land of misfit toys.
Yeah. And I'm also looking here. I don't know what to do with this as a fact, but it just is a fact. I'm looking at D'Angelo Russell's playoff numbers. You look at his regular season numbers. I mean, 15 points, 21 points, 23 points, 23, 21, 19, 18, 17, 17, 17, 18. You look at his playoff numbers. He's been in the playoffs 4 different times. In Brooklyn, his first year, again, this is when I would say he was at his best, 19.4 points in 5 playoff games. His next time in the playoffs, he was with the Minnesota Timberwolves, played 32 minutes, averaged 12 points a game in the playoffs after averaging 19 in the regular season. With the Lakers, he in 2023, he averaged in the regular season 17.9 points per game, in the playoffs 13.3. This past season in the regular season, 18 points per game, in the playoffs 14.2. So this is somebody who's getting worse as the games are getting bigger and bigger. That has to mean something. No, that has to mean, like, you can't tell me if you're worse in the regular season or if you're worse in the playoffs than you were in the regular season, you were relied on a certain amount. And then when things got tight, when the team actually needs the most success, I mean, I didn't even mention the percentages. Forget the points per game. Shooting percentages in the playoffs, 35.9, 33% from the field, 42%, 38%. That's terrible. That's terrible. And you want that guy to be your number 2 scorer. Go ahead, Orlando. Go ahead.
Please.
Go ahead.
Family Schlegel on the Sack Chat says, Stiles just listed a lot of players I don't want on the Kings.
Yeah, exactly. That's all that list was. 18 points per game is a curse.
18 points per game. What is it in football on the pitch? What is it? The worst score is 2-0.
2-0
at halftime.
Yeah, 2-0. Yeah.
2-0 at halftime and 18 points per game. That's what it'll get you. All right, we get into some baseball talk when we return. It is 5-5 in the top of the 12th. Man on second and third with the A's, with JJ Bleday up with the A's trying to take the lead. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna sound like get off my lawn. I just don't understand how you have a runner on second with no outs and don't score. Not just in one inning.
No.
They're in the top of the 12th. And neither team has scored.
Especially if you're the home team
and they're the strikeout.
The front team doesn't. If the road team doesn't score in the first inning, why aren't you not just run them over? Just end the game.
I will never get that.
Yeah.
I will never understand.
It's almost like the 3-point fouling on a 3, right? Where it's just it's like an integrity thing where it's like, we could win that way. But I mean, why else then? Why else not do it?
The problem is now everybody throws 114 miles per hour, so the strikeout rate is just ridiculous. All right, we'll see if they get it done. And when we come back, Chris wants to lead a baseball segment. What? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com. Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at
There was one out, right, Chris? And it was
one
second
out.
and third.
Yeah, second and third.
Strikeout, and then essentially an infield fly out. Pop up. So, got some A's fans in Tampa, by the way.
Interesting. Huh.
It's pretty empty out there.
Yeah. That's
and
the island of misfit fans, right?
That's right. Just be something.
Rays and A's fans joining together.
Yes, joining together to hopefully fill up a ballpark.
Yeah. I wonder which fan base goes to which stadium and says, this is actually kind of nice. Like, I don't know
Not
if the
one
A's fans.
I don't think it's the one.
I hear really bad things about
Really?
Tropicana. I hear it's pretty. I just hear it's really bland.
The camera is so nice. Well, you just saw the little clip where there was some looked like some lunch tables.
That's exactly what it looked
when you go into Safeway and they have
Yes.
a little eating area.
That's exactly
what it
what
looked
it looks
like.
like.
Is Oracle widely considered one of the better?
It's top
five, no question.
Top 5. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no question.
And it's partly because everything
It's
plays
the
into it,
view.
but the water
It's the
too.
view.
Yeah,
It's everything.
Yeah.
It's
honestly, the
everything.
Coke bottle's pretty cool
And
too.
it's the same
really
designers that did PNC Park with the Pirates, who's also widely
Beautiful.
regarded as one of the best baseball
Interesting
ballparks that are around right now. Chris, before we get into this baseball, Bat 209 says, and I'm not really sure what part is the bad take, but 209 says, bad take.
Ow.
Defense always ramps up during the playoffs. A lot of teams coast through the regular season. Look at all the playoff unders that have hit. So what did the prop talk 209? Playoff
So are you
unders.
saying
What are we
that
talking about?
everybody's numbers go down in the playoffs? 'Cause
Oh yeah,
that's
that's pretty much what they're saying.
yeah, but that's not. That's I'm saying no. Okay.
Also, Vegas knows that
Well-
they're not going to set the line higher. That's. I mean,
no, I'm just saying I
Depends
I
on-
don't think that's making the point that you think it is. I think
Yeah.
stars will always.
Yes, it
continue.
depends on what you
De'Aaron
expect
Fox-
out
like-
of D'Angelo Russell.
Exactly. That's my point. Is that in the playoffs, he's not one of those people that step up. He's not one of. If he's going to be your top 2 or 3 scoring option, those guys ideally in the playoffs are going to continue to be the guys they were in the regular season, if not more. Look at Malik's numbers in the postseason versus regular season. Look at Anthony Edwards' numbers in the regular season versus postseason. And I'm not saying, D'Lo has to be on Anthony Edwards level, but again, I think Malik's the perfect example. those guys have a heightened importance in the playoffs. And if you're shrinking in those moments, that's not what you should want to sign up for a number 2 option.
Right. So, and they're following up saying superstars versus role players are different. D'Angelo isn't a star. But again,
but they're going to, yeah, go ahead.
But if you're going to Orlando,
Yes.
if I'm paying D'Lo
Yes.
$22 million to be the guy that we're missing in Orlando, if your numbers are worse, then I've wasted my time.
I've wasted my time.
Because I could just keep Jalen Suggs
100%
and Cole Anthony.
Yes.
So, again,
he's not getting paid like a role player.
Yes. I don't think you're wrong, 209. I think it's what
yes,
D'Angelo Russell is being viewed as. The question was, there are Magic fans in their spaces saying, why are we looking at Malik Monk over D'Angelo Russell? Look at D'Angelo Russell's numbers. They need a scoring guard, and scoring guards are incredibly important during the playoffs. So if you're going to go all in for a guy who has not played as well during the playoffs, that's tough sledding.
Exactly.
They're looking for their big three. Their big three.
They're looking for someone to be a part of that scoring.
Yeah, and not to mention the way D'Lo shoots based on volume. He thinks he's part of a big three. So that's the problem with D'Lo. He doesn't play like a role player.
It's not a know your role thing.
It is not a know your role.
No idea what his role is.
In a perfect world, D'Lo could actually be a really good third to fourth option, but he's out here chucking.
Yes.
So that's the problem. We're not really saying different things. It's just a matter of and to be fair, that's why nobody's really checking for D'Lo.
Exactly.
It all comes
Everybody
back
thinks he's a
around
role player,
to the same conversation. But great stuff, 209.
Yes.
All right, Chris, let's get into this curious case of baseball. There's a whole linear path that you cooked up yourself, and I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, sometimes these things, when you're putting together a show, it's like a puzzle, and you want things to fall into place perfectly so that we're talking about this and that perfectly leads into this. Well, this is one of those times where everything falls perfectly into place. First, we're going to hear from Mookie Betts, who, this is some really interesting audio. You don't really hear this, especially on the baseball side.
Right.
Sometimes you'll hear it on the basketball side about, oh, yeah, dude, that matchup. I just heard Shaq the other day talking about how, Big Country used to kill him all the time. Vladi and Scott Pollard used to kill him all the time. And it's those guys that, you don't think about that you just have their number or they have your number. Here's Mookie Betts talking about our guy, Logan Webb, Kings fan, Logan Webb, and unfortunately, Mookie and Logan both know what time it is.
For some reason, and I know he is spoken on this.
He knows he owns me.
I have no idea why when we face Logan Webb, I truly have no idea, bro.
I've seen this.
I have no idea why I just get hits. You just have a guy.
Just how it is,
You
yeah.
just have a guy. I'm not even saying he's my guy. I'm just saying
You got good carear stats off. I've seen the stuff.
I have good stats. I apologize, but I do enjoy when you pitch, bro.
There it is. Nice.
And that's that is Mookie Betts on his Bleacher Report podcast. I think Tyler Glasnow was his guest there. And that perfectly ties in to what I heard Chris Bassett talk about. I think it was yesterday on facing Yordan Alvarez. And this perfectly ties in with what Kyle Harrison went with yesterday and what Mookie just talked about in owning Logan Webb. This is a perfect bridge between the two. Here's Chris Bassett talking about what's so hard about facing Yordan Alvarez and what he tries to do so that Yordan doesn't own him.
Beginning of the year, you guys were playing Houston.
You got to bring up Yordan. I know you're going to bring up Yordan.
I thought it was very humanizing when you went up to him and basically was like, dude, stop killing me. What did you say to him?
I think I said, you effing kill me.
And his response was?
His face was like, I know. For me, he's just such a tough at bat because how do I say this and not rile up people up? In the old school days, I should and I would throw a ball close to his head. I'm not trying to hit him, but you're going to get out of the way of the ball. It's really hard to make him uncomfortable inside because he's so far off the plate. And then he dives. To basically not let him dive, you've got to throw in. And the problem is he's so far off the plate. Throwing in is like deliberate as can be, for me especially, because I don't ever miss there. I don't trust the umpires in the aspect of I throw one up and in and miss him, and then say like the next at bat I throw another one and I hit him, that I don't get thrown out and suspended like 10 games. Yes, I am deliberately throwing at him, but I'm expecting him to get out of the way. And if he doesn't get out of the way, it's his fault. But the reality of the game is you're not allowed to throw at people anymore. And I understand the reason why. The fact that I don't really have a way to make him uncomfortable along with his skill is a bad recipe for me. I think a knuckleball's coming up. I'll tell you that. If I face him again.
And so, again, that perfectly ties Mookie talking about how Logan Webb rocks him, or he rocks Logan Webb all the time. You hear Bassett talking about how Yordan bashes him all the time. And so Chris Bassett says, I know it's not really in fashion anymore. I know you'll get suspended. I know you'll possibly get kicked out of the game. But how baseball has been played in its entire history is if this dude is going to crowd the plate and or if I just need to back him off of the plate, I'm going to throw inside. And sometimes, it gets a little close and sometimes you lose control. And sometimes, unfortunately, batters get hit. And I think the worst case is, what happened with Giancarlo Stanton where his face gets absolutely demolished. But I think that it's part of, something that pitchers have to do. And this brings us to yesterday where right before we get off the show, Kyle Harrison and Bryce Harper get into this machismo staring match because, Kyle Harrison did exactly what I assume Chris Bassett's laying out, and he threw inside and high twice on Bryce, and Bryce didn't like it. I think is this Kyle Harrison's audio? This is what Kyle Harrison had to say about the whole situation. Oh, that was the play. Yeah, sorry. I think that's my bad. That audio was going to be the actual gameplay audio, but essentially Kyle Harrison says, I would do it again. Like, I know Bryce got mad. I know he, after the first pitch, Bryce kind of drops his bat, looks at him, gives him a, what was that, bro? What was that? And then, Harrison just kind of doesn't react at all. And then very next pitch, high and inside again, bench is clear. I think much to do about nothing. I understand Bryce obviously has the history, and funny enough, I think I saw videos. It's almost to the day that the Hunter Strickland Memorial Day fight happened. But, I didn't have an issue with it, and I understand why Bryce is upset, but also like that's just kind of how things have always been. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not even a baseball purist, and I kind of was like, Bryce, I get why you're upset, but like, let's react.
Basically Kyle Harrison said, I would throw in again. Why not?
Yeah.
That
Bryce will crush. It's either that or hit a dinger.
I have to find a way to get this guy out. By the way, Mookie Betts on Logan Webb. He is 10 for 29. That's good for an average of 345, 2 RBIs, 2 home runs, 2 doubles. That's pretty darn good. 10 hits. Yeah. Coming up next, we continue the conversation. We give you an update on the A's. I'll give you a spoiler alert, not great news, another walk-off. Also, who should the Giants target as their shortstop position has been struggling in one Marco Luciano? And a guy learns a tale of hustling backwards. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
What's the missing piece for the 49ers?
Which names will they add during free agency? Whether it's in season or off season, the coverage never stops. Get the latest 49ers news on Sactown Sports at Sactownsports.com.
The Summer Starts Here sales event is on now through Memorial Day at your Toyota dealer. Take advantage of great deals on Toyota's entire lineup of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Right now, drive into the season of fun in a new Toyota and get low 3.99% APR financing on Highlander. Or check out great lease deals on Camry, Corolla, and RAV4. Hurry, Toyota's Summer Starts Here sales event ends soon. Toyota, let's go places. Offer available on 2024 models through TFS to buyers with premium rated credit. Excludes hybrids. N6324.
Sacramento, Dirk Bentley is coming to town.
Hey y'all, this is Dirk Bentley.
Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends.
This is Farley. Take my hand, let me make you mine.
Hey, it's Dasha. Kelsey Hart and more. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets before they sell out at CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Coors Light.
Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers. And if you've even thought of replacing your old, outdated, inefficient windows, now is the time to take action.
Right now at Bell Brothers, when you buy one window, you'll get the second one for 30% off. That's right. Buy one, get the second one 30% off.
That's real savings, up to $6,000. You have to buy at least 4 windows to qualify, and you can't mix windows and doors. But beyond that, every second window is 30% off.
For example, when you buy 10 windows, you will get 5 windows at 30% off. We also have 0% interest financing available for qualified buyers. Call for details.
To take advantage of our buy one, get one 30% off sale, call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Whitey here, reminding you that not all gas grills are created equal. Bring out all the delicious flavors in your grilled meats with the amazing Napoleon Prestige and Prestige Pro line of outdoor cookers. My Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned me into a grilling pro with features other grills cannot match. They're built different, built better, built to last. Made with premium stainless steel that boasts quality and a lifetime warranty. I may never want to cook indoors again. Napoleon grills and accessories are now available at your nearby Amy's, Ace Hardware in Sacramento, and now El Dorado.
What is Subcontractors United? It's a list of 3 pre-qualified and licensed contractors in over 40 trades to help with your home project needs. From cabinets to heating and air to landscapers and everything in between, Subcontractors United makes finding qualified contractors free and easy with no accounts to set up. Visit subcontractorsunited.com today and experience the joy of stress-free home improvement. Save time and money at subcontractorsunited.com.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-934-9217. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-934-9217 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217.
Giants are grown at Sutter Health Park. The Sacramento Rivercats continue to fast-track talent to San Francisco, and there's more on the way. See them all in Sactown first. The Rivercats are home now through next Sunday. Grab your tickets at rivercats.com.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
The A's not able to get it done. 2 walk-offs in 2 days. That's pretty rough, Chris. They lose in the bottom of the 12th to the Rays, and Jose Siri, who I had to look this up, Chris, because I thought that maybe I had missed out on just kind of a dude who is a baller. And then I looked up his stats because he's really made life tough for the A's. 2024, he's hitting 188 with 17 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, OPS of 614, 25 hits. So he's not doing too well, but he's having a really good, really good series against the A's. He robbed a home run, and then he went on to hit a home run today. Now, before we get into this hustling backwards, this is now two different trade, I guess, breakdowns from Bleacher Report. And really, they just have the top spots for these guys. 2 guys from the Blue Jays, who Chris and I have talked a lot about, Team Nepo, if you will, and how it looks like they're about to break up. We don't really know what's happening. in Toronto, but now we're seeing Bo Bichette and Vladdy Jr. both be connected to the Giants, and the Giants are struggling, Chris, at the shortstop position. If one more person hits me up about a stupid Marco Luciano tweet that I made weeks ago after a Nick Ahmed error, as if it was the worst take in the world, I don't care. Okay, I don't care. You can continue to hit me up. I'm not deleting the tweet. And it was a bad throw by Nick Ahmed. Look, people told me almost a year and a half ago that Marco Luciano is possible that he was going to get moved, and then he never did. I personally, Chris, I have kind of a theory on this. And sure. I think that it's possible that they wanted to move off of Brandon Crawford, but it would have been even worse. There was still backlash, but the backlash would have been even worse if you moved off of Brandon Crawford with no young player in place to kind of take the mantle.
Right.
So even though they weren't really sure if Marco Luciano was going to be the guy as a shortstop, they didn't want to come out and say it because they had to make it seem like they had the next in line for Brandon Crawford. And then once they did it, they were hoping that Marco Luciano would get there. I think he's 22 now, and he's had some issues as shortstop lately.
Yeah.
And look, it's kind of like the Trey Lance thing, right? When Brandon Crawford got moved on, got booted, but he moved on, and they got Nick Ahmed in there, and Nick Ahmed started the season. That should have been your first yellow light, if you will, that something is off with Marco Luciano. Absolutely. If they're not willing to just start the season. When he played a little bit last season. So when they did that, that didn't really make any sense. Nick Ahmed, he's been injured as well. So you get Marco Luciano in there, and now Marco Luciano is struggling at the shortstop position. And, you know, the saying goes in baseball that you cannot become a shortstop. You are born a shortstop. Right. And
you ask some, they say the same thing about quarterback, remember?
That's also true. When his mama lifted her up, speaking of Trey Lance. Yeah. But in a world where you see these guys play so many positions, right? From, I'm in center, or Mookie Betts.
Right.
Mookie is the only guy, and again,
exception, not the rule.
Do not talk about Mookie enough. He doesn't get talked about enough. That Mookie is one of the only guys that I've ever heard of to not only go to shortstop, to go to shortstop from the outfield after already being in the big leagues.
Right.
Second base is one thing. This man has been at shortstop. So I don't know what's going to happen with Marco Luciano. Here is the trade from Bleacher Report. Trade proposal: Giants get Bo Bichette, and the Blue Jays get Marco Luciano and the Giants' number 1 and number 54 prospect, along with Carson Wisenhunt, who is the Giants' number 3 prospect. They go on to say if Luciano is more of a project than the Giants have time and patience for right now, then trading him isn't the worst idea. He'd be able to step right into Bichette's shoes.
You sure about that?
In Toronto, which would also get a near MLB ready hurler in Wisenhunt. I agree on the Wisenhunt front. Yeah. I don't know if the Blue Jays would say, no, we don't want him at our shortstop.
Yeah, right.
Why would we want him at our shortstop? So I'm not sure about that. But yeah, Chris, I had high hopes for the Giants and the kiddos, and from the big miss on Joey Bart, who's been playing well in Pittsburgh, to now Marco Luciano was essentially the white whale. You look all around Major League Baseball, everyone's got a young short. They're just popping up. You know what I feel about? I feel like that with Teslas. Okay, when was the Tesla giveaway? I feel like that when it comes to these shortstops. When was the young stud shortstop giveaway, and why did I miss it? Yeah. And you finally get it with the Giants, and then it turns out he's not very good at shortstop.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean it's brutal, and I do wonder if that would even be enough from the Giants side of things. I mean, Luciano has, I think, shown he's definitely decreased his value here in the past couple weeks. I mean, it's been terrible, especially in the field, man. It just feels like, I mean, I showed you yesterday, he had that play where he just let it, he just held onto the ball for a tick too long and just missed an easy routine throw to first. I mean, if they could somehow manage to get Bo Bichette and or Vladdy. I definitely think that's the kind of influx of excitement too that I think Giants fans would definitely need or have been asking for every single offseason for them to get some sort of name. I think either one of those two guys are definitely guys that can help impact this team, not just this season, but of course moving forward as well. To me, especially with hearing them tied so closely to both of those guys, it makes all the sense in the world. I mean, it maybe depends on if the Giants still are holding out hope. I mean, they're a couple games over 500. I don't know what they're hoping to get out of this season, but if you're trying to maybe hold on to making a decent postseason run, I think that this is the type of move that you got to try and look at.
You know who the Blue Jays are going to want?
Your boy. Which one? Well, I guess
Reggie.
Which one? Oh, I was not thinking Reggie. I thought
Crawford.
You were talking outfielders. I was like Matos or
they better
Elliott.
not move Reggie Crawford. Yeah. That man is the future. All right. Before we get to it,
Get a bat in his hands.
Yeah,
man.
a little story of hustling backwards. So Jorge Lopez, pitcher, former pitcher for the Mets, basically, what did he give up a dinger? And then after that, he argues with the umpire. After he argued with the umpire about a check swing.
It was the third base umpire, too.
Yes.
Which was so.
Yes. He gets tossed right out of the game. He's walking back to the dugout. He throws his glove in the air, and I don't know if this was on purpose. It lands in the stands. Yeah. So this fan now has an MLB player's glove. He gets to the post-game presser. He's in the clubhouse, and he says, I'm on the worst bleeping team. And then they're not sure if he says, did you say you're the worst teammate or you're on the worst team? And he said, combination. And then right after that, the Mets announced that they are DFAing him, and he's not on a team, I think, as of today. Here is the sound from after he throws the ball in the air.
Carlos Mendoza said that he understands the emotion, but that particular action of throwing your glove into the stands was unacceptable. Looking back on it, do you regret doing that?
No, I don't regret it. I think I've been looking the worst teammate probably in the whole MLB. So, whatever happened. So, whatever they want to do, I'll be tomorrow here if they want me. Whatever they want to do. So, I'm gonna keep doing this thing. So I'm healthy on whatever on whatever to do. I'm ready to come back tomorrow if they want me to be here. So
I'm so confused.
So then after that, he posted on his Instagram.
Yes, on his Instagram story.
And he says, whoever heard me, I said teammate. And what I said on the situation, I've been the worst teammate. Thanks, media, for making it worse. And yeah, he got DFA'd, so he doesn't have a job right now.
Right. It's really confusing, and I mean I definitely understand the English is his second language thing, and he's I just feel like he was kind of saying both. Like I kind of agree with that initial clarification, I guess, before the
Instagram
clarification, because the way he's talking,
because they ask him, and he says both,
and even the way he talks after saying I'm probably the worst team or teammate. It's kind of the way the words that he's saying, like, hey, I'll be here tomorrow if they want me. If they don't want me, then whatever. It just kind of sounds like he's separating himself from the situation in total and is almost putting it in their hands and saying, I'll be here if they want me here, but if they don't want me here, then you could let me go and things would be. It was just a really weird comment for him to say, even if he was saying I'm probably being the worst teammate. I don't really know what. I don't know the ins and outs of what he necessarily would have done to make him feel that way. So I guess we have to take his word for it, but the first clarification makes the most sense to me that he was saying both.
And I heard Dave talking a little bit about it during the morning show. Yeah, at the end of the day, the Mets are a complete disaster. You had Lindor. We didn't even talk about this last week. Lindor, who took a pitch, right? And then he just didn't move at all. And people thought it was a really bad look.
Right.
And he tried to explain it saying this guy wasn't throwing strikes. So my thought process was just to take it, which made a little bit of sense. But the way he took it was just it's just a mess
it's a complete mess
in Metsville.
Ever since last year.
Ever since last year. And those are some of the growing pains with new ownership, and money doesn't solve everything, at least not quickly. All right, Drive Guys, Crosstalk when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Subscribe to Sactown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sactown Sports.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Progressive asks, what do a middle school slumber party,
Let's stay up all night. Yeah!
a sleep-deprived girl, an early morning paper route, and a poorly thrown rolled-up newspaper have in common?
Hey, my window!
They can become a fast-breaking news story.
Sorry, Mr. Thompson.
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive for great savings and round-the-clock protection.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Sponsored by Xfinity. Enjoy the entertainment you love with the Xfinity Stream app. Turn any screen into a TV and take the entertainment you love wherever you go. Xfinity, we connect you to more of what you love.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Joined by Whitey Gleason. Hello. And Whitey, before I get into the beef I have with you, I wanted to start with this since we were talking a lot of baseball. Did you see the clip of Anthony Rizzo as it appeared like he purposely got hit by a ball? It was a man on first and second, and he was at second, and he didn't get out of the way of the ground ball to shortstop so that they couldn't turn a double play.
Yeah, I just saw there was a wonky obstruction call, and I apologize. I didn't actually follow up with what it was. Was that what it was?
Yeah, that's what it was. And the announcer said that was a really smart move by Anthony Rizzo. And that was something, if I'm being completely honest, never heard of that. Never was told to do that in that situation. It never crossed my mind.
You can't obstruct with the fielder's right to field the ball, right?
You can get hit by the ball, though.
Yeah.
He got hit by the ball.
Okay.
So you get hit by the ball, you're out.
Oh, I think, hold on. There might be a situation, because there was also a where Juan Soto was
not that infield.
That was, I think, the obstruction rule. That
Not the infield fly. This was a ground ball to the shortstop. Anthony Rizzo's on second. Someone's on first. Anthony Rizzo, while he's running the third, just kind of
prevent the double play.
Slows down in front of the ball.
Oh, that's smart.
Gets hit by the ball, so they can't turn the double play.
Gotcha.
I never heard of that before.
I haven't either, but that's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah. So any Little League coaches out there, Teach your kids.
Any of them, right?
Any
just
of them.
Any random
might
Little
just
League
might just be me.
I got benched once, taken out of a game in Little League because I'm on second base and there's a little flare to left center.
Okay.
I was 9 years old. Who knows what actually happened? This is what I saw.
Right.
And so I'm off second base. Like, are they going to catch it? Oh, I didn't catch it. I run to third.
Mm-hmm.
They throw it back in. Next inning, I'm not playing anymore. And the manager comes over. Do you know why you're out of the game?
No,
not really. He says, because you didn't score from second base on the hit. And I, at the time I was like, oh, okay. But years later, I was thinking that, do you know why I didn't score from second base?
Right. And then if they would have caught it, that you would have got pulled out either way. Getting benched at 9 is crazy.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
Alan started off the show today by announcing that he's being humble about it, but he's going to start coaching Little League today, actually.
Oh.
Well, I'm just helping out.
He's just helping
out. I'm just helping out.
He's helping out. Watch. 2 weeks in, he's going to
That's what I'm saying.
The guy that's in charge.
We're going to see him on the Little League World Series. He's going to be a manager.
I'm just helping out. Just, just
one kid at a time.
Ingratiating myself into the community. That's
what is it? They squash the bug? Is that the thing that you tell kids?
Yeah, you got to squash the bug. It's for me. I'm all about swing path. I'm all about torque.
How old are the kids?
I'm not sure.
You better check before you get into swing path and torque.
Come on, Bryson. What are you doing?
You just If either way, just get the foot down and just take.
Jimmy, have you seen your OPS?
Yeah.
Do I have to show you? I don't want to show you.
Just take the knob to the baseball. Just take the knob to the baseball. Whitey, I got to say, I can't do this anymore. So you come in and you say that I said we can replace Malik Monk with D'Angelo Russell. I never said that.
I didn't say you said that. I may have been, like I said, sometimes I think out loud. I was talking about, I heard you saying everything's okay. We don't need Malik. He's terrible.
Whoa.
Then later I heard you
that.
saying, how come no one wants D'Angelo Russell? He might be the best player in the league.
No.
That's what I heard you say.
No. See, this is what happens when you do this. Then when you actually call me out on stuff I did say, like apparently the JTA thing, I say, I don't know what I said
You're
anymore.
Confusing Alan. So
I don't know what I've said at any point anymore.
The JTA thing, I believe you actually did say.
I believe
Maybe
you
were
actually
kidding.
did say.
Yeah, I heard you say it. That's not something that I was playing a joke. This I'm exaggerating for a fact. That was something you actually said. And Chris is being nice because I remember he was there because I asked him. And he was
When did you ask him?
It was at the game when you said it. And you said, JTA is better than Harrison Barnes. And I said, Chris? And Chris was like,
I was really high.
I don't really
high on JTA. I do not recall saying that, but honestly, anything is possible.
Can I tell you something that I thought was funny along the lines of Harrison Barnes?
Sure.
I was looking at one of the mocks today, and I
Happy
think
birthday,
it was
Harrison, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I didn't realize.
32nd birthday.
I think it was Bleacher Report. So I'm looking at all the players. Reese Sachet is first, and then on down the line. And they have their comps, their NBA comps.
Yes,
so I was assuming, all right, what if it was the comps that were getting picked?
Right.
That would be funny. So with the first pick, the Atlanta Hawks take Harrison Barnes.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think the Kings at 13 get Derek White.
Oh,
so who was that?
I think it was Bleacher Report.
I know, but who was the actual player?
Devin Carter, I think
it was Devin Carter. It's the one that we didn't.
Yeah. And now, so you're saying that what you were looking at had Risache over Alex Sarr now?
Yeah, and I think a number of them that I've seen, running 1-2, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Klingon is still
3?
Hanging on, but Klingon no good. Zach Edey good, huh?
I don't know. Yesterday there was a surge on our show of pro, and I'm talking mostly about Jay and Kyle, and I'm not I understand it. It makes sense, but there was a surge of Dalton Connect is the guy if they can get him.
Oh, I was on Dalton Connect. I just don't think he's going to be there.
Mm-hmm. You have to trade up.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what I want to disagree with you on.
What?
You were talking about this very subject. You were mentioning teams, and you said Malik and bad teams like Detroit, and you said Utah. Mm-hmm. I don't know about Utah. They're on the verge to me of being pretty good, maybe.
So there's another team.
On the verge of being pretty good.
So there's another
team that could be good this year, in my opinion. To me, the Kings are here, and they've kind of been drifting downwards, and Utah's there on the other side of that gulf. And they play things right. mean,
Not this
I
word
could see
golf
them.
again. Please don't say golf. It's a
Okay.
trigger word in Sacramento
Yes,
until Mike Brown gets signed.
So I know Utah was not a good team last year. You're factually correct, but to me, I look at that team and
they're
maybe
trying
I just
to
have
move
too much
Jordan
respect
Clarkson.
for Danny Ainge.
They're trying to move Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah,
and Will Hart. They got Will Harden too. Big fan of Will Harden.
So basically, they're going to be no bad teams in the West.
That
Because have you seen Scoot Henderson?
Oh, don't get us started on that one again.
Why?
Because Whitey might have been right about Scoot. Might have.
Scoot can't shoot.
He can't, but he's trying now.
He's trying.
The
He's
summer
definitely trying.
content is
I
coming
know.
out. Did you see Ben Simmons?
Oh, he's back in the gym.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you know summer's starting.
That's what someone said. When you see pictures of Ben Simmons working out, it's time to turn on the air conditioner.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Great
Love
stuff.
Ben Simmons playing basketball.
I would almost take a flyer on Ben Simmons at this point.
I thought about it, but the money's crazy.
Yeah, it's not for
That's
the money.
it,
If there's
yeah.
any way, I don't know if you can get him for
Just
cheap.
amnesty.
I just think
please.
the Kings need, at this point, a year ago, going in the summer, Chris and I were talking about all these players, and I was very selective. Like, I don't know about Kuzma. I don't know about this guy, that guy. Right now, I'm open to anybody that would be a talent upgrade. I'm not saying yes, absolutely, but I'm open to anybody.
Like
John
D'Angelo
Collins.
Russell.
Well, let me think about it.
D'Angelo Russell.
Probably not. He played under Mike Brown and Mike Brown's system with the Warriors, and I don't think that's a good fit.
I don't think it's is that Mike Brown's system from the Warriors?
Well, certainly defensively it was, and he didn't play any defense.
No, he is not. Really.
The only team he's made better was the Timberwolves when he left them,
and the Nets. Was he an all-star that year, Chris, with the Nets?
Well, he did have like 47 here, didn't he? He had a huge game for the Nets against the Kings.
Yeah,
in the
that
old building.
lives in
You're
my
right.
head permanently.
Yeah,
it was in this. It was actually in Golden One Center.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Very much.
I apologize.
One of my
he
first
is
memories of that.
quite a shooter.
So, who are you having on later? Why do you told us during the break? But
Mark Jones is going to be on.
So Mark Jones is going to be on, and we did a game. It was kind of Mark Jones, a little bit of Kyle Draper, because when they're calling games, they're very good at the kind. It's almost as if they're rapping, like Lil Wayne, right? Right. Hotter than fish grease, things like that. I'm in my bag like JanSport, and when I said that about Carmichael Dave, and he did not understand at all. So we had a caller, and I said, "Oh yeah." They said, "Oh, how are you guys doing?" And I said, "Kicking it like a soccer ball." And then during the break, Chris said that was the worst thing
he's ever said.
He's
ever said. Period.
I've told you before. I'll tell you again. Sometimes you need to listen to your partner.
And Nate kind of looked at me too. I'm kicking it like a soccer ball.
I like that you're trying.
I'm okay with it.
Thank you.
I
think
wouldn't.
it's
Go
horrible. You got
back
one?
and I wouldn't. No, I don't. I don't.
Chris, you got one?
A soccer ball?
No. I'm trying to think of one.
5:00. Bob Kendrick's going to be with us. He's the president, Negro League Baseball Museum. So looking.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You going to be in our wiffle ball tournament? I want to have a wiffle ball tournament to benefit the Negro League Museum.
Of course, I'll be in it.
All right.
And then we'll go straight to Sutter Health Park.
That's right.
And then we'll trade in the wiffle balls.
You see, I sense you. JaVale McGee's having a celebrity softball game too. I think he's going to be at Sutter Health Park.
I think he's on. I think he might be on with us tomorrow.
Can you get me on?
Get Allen in the game,
please. Whitey, say, hey, I got a guy.
Yes,
he's a guy.
Achilles 100%.
Achilles.
You said this morning
82%.
I said it this morning. I'm almost back.
That's like 94.
Streets beware. Okay, the Sacramento
June 30 is
pickup.
going to be on with us.
Wow.
When
So
is
next week?
When is and Chris? When is the softball?
I don't know. I'll have to check it. I'd imagine it's probably sometime near June or July. I'll have to check.
Yeah, June. So that's next.
June 15th, I believe.
Yeah. So
JaVale
we'll be
McGee.
talking to him about that.
I believe.
Hopefully we can get, me and Kyle can get a couple spots in the game.
And then you'll save.
I don't
one for
even
me?
want to play, but I would take
He
one.
just wants to take up the spot. It is Saturday.
And
June
I'm just
15th.
sitting in the stands. I'd be the first person to get kicked out for
Start
running.
heckling.
Yeah, for running onto the field for a charity softball
I know.
game.
Well, you got a break. I'm sorry.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
But next, Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, the Drive Guys with Jay Johnson as well. Thank you to all the callers. Thank you to Emil Fergoso. Thank you to Nate, Stiles and Watkins will be back tomorrow. Until tomorrow, secure the bag, like the bean. Scream!
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports